There we go. The journey begins once again. Greetings, everyone. Looks like we have about a 15-second delay window today. So, greetings. You are listening to me from the future. And yeah, I think it's 2024 now, right, everyone? Come on in the door. Take a really deep breath if you can. Just kind of expand your chest, expand your belly. I mean it sincerely. Kind of come on in the door and take a few deep breaths. You'll not only be doing that for yourself, but you'll also be doing it for me. Somebody out there, let me know if my audio is operational. According to me, according to my screen, it is. But I'll tell you, these days you never know. Like you really never know. So I'm gonna be checking it in the background, and it's definitely off. Here we go. Get ready for audio change. Boom. That might be a little bit different, a little bit better. Let me know if that was either an upgrade or a downgrade in the audio. I've been having, and for those of you guys that know us here, welcome to the multidimensional trailer park, by the way. 2024, new year, new body, new soul, new mortal shell. That's what we're here to do today, you guys. You're going to be recycling. You're going to be molting. We're going to be molting live on the internet. But anyway, I just changed the audio settings. I see some people in the chat are saying better upgrade. Okay, cool. Because I'll tell you, you never know. For those of you guys that have hung out with us in the Zoom realm, which is coming up again, it's coming up. You'll know there's always a number of fun, what we might call hijinks or strange mishaps, or what we might call technological disruptions that will take place. And so I always have to check multiple times. I have completely stopped checking to see if it lets us go live on Facebook. So for better or worse, I'm sorry, Facebook. They kind of never let us in anyway. And if they do, there's like one or two people will our broadcast will make it to one or two people's pages. And so anyway, it's good to see everybody as you're coming on in the door. Once again, welcome to 2024. It's an 8 year for those of you guys that are even familiar on a surface level with numerology. We'll know a little bit about the 8 year. We're going to talk about the 8 year in a second, and then we're also going to talk about your personal year. I don't know what all the classifications are. I don't know what all the definitions are. I know that I'm in a personal year of 7, but we are in a we might call global year of 8, which I guess if you want to get technical as we're coming on in the door, it does mean that from a really basic level, a number of us are going to be increasing feeling, having the world reflect to us our worth on a little bit of a different level, achieving what we might call milestones or improvements in terms of abundance. If money is what you desire, money is what you will get when it comes to abundance. Abundance is, can be defined in a multitude of ways, as we all know. But it's a good year for building that stuff. They say it's a good year for starting businesses as well. I don't know about the current economic climate here in the United States. I don't know if that's necessarily a thing. But one thing we are going to be seeing, I think, this year as we kind of step forward is a number of people moving into professionality, or the stage in which they become self-supporting. And some of us are already self-supporting in what we do, whether it be in the intuitive realm or the spiritual realm. People are going to be coming to a new milestone in your life. So if you were one of the people that were putting yourself out there as a spiritual practitioner in the year of 2023, and you were going like, what happened to all the people? Where did everybody go? Like, is it me? Because you're going to have that moment. You're going to be like, well, is it me or is it the world? And I guess spoiler alert, it's both. But outside of that, as we go into a little bit of a different energetic climate, one of the things we're going to notice as we start out this year and move forward is that we are going to be entering just a stage in which the world is a lot more receptive, and it's going to go up and down. It's like waves, but we are entering a stage in which those who practice what we might call the spiritual arts, the mystical arts, in any form. Some people cringe at those terms or those definitions, but it's going to be rising up a little bit. So congratulations if you've been trying to launch yourself in that area. Not only is it the best time on earth to do it, it's also a very, very busy time on the human, plane to do it, because everyone else is doing it. Kind of like, and I know this is going to be different based upon where you were and what soul group you were and what kind of interest realm you were in, or you're just like the current social climate. But I know that for me, back in like, at least where I lived back between like 2010 and 2012, everybody I knew was doing photography. And it was weird because I had been doing photography on a professional level for a couple of years prior to that as well. And it was one of those things, kind of like psychic work, which sounds dumb that we're going into this story based rant at the start. But I was one of those people that it was like, for some reason, as soon as I started doing it, I started getting work like instantly. It was bizarre. It was honestly weird. I started getting work doing it instantly. And that's a really good way to kill a creative pursuit, because that's literally what it did for me. And so back in that stage, I started this professional photography thing, which was just me and a bunch of photo gear trying to do various events, but it was instantly successful. And within like a year after that, I just couldn't. But going back to the earlier comment was that, we're at a stage where many people are going to be jumping into certain things like that. It's like you're going to audition a version of yourself, and the energetic climate will be right for you to make headway, to have a little bit of an impact, to generate a little bit of energy. Now there's always defining factors in terms of if you're able to stand the test of time, and that's another conversation. But this is the season and this is the year. And so likewise, like I was saying earlier, for those of you that have been struggling in getting yourself out there with your spiritual offerings, get ready. The people are coming back. And I say this very, very sincerely. It's happening all across the board. They're like waves. And so anyway, it's good to see everybody that is here. If you can share this video somewhere on your in your share this in your social media realm, maybe we'll get a few more subscribers. We're in an interesting we're in an interesting, like, kind of, I don't know if it's like a plateau, if it's like a weird, algorithmic gateway or a blockage, but we will eventually break through the 6,000 subscribers mark. We're nearly there. And so if you're one of the people lingering in the background, you can help us out by subscribing. But anyway, the mission for today, you guys, as we know, is for readings. We are in a new year, and like I just said, for people that are going to be doing spiritual work, it's a very good time. But there's a lot of other there are many others of us that are stationed in their current incarnational mission cycle in many different areas, all throughout, many occupations, many realms, many roles. And even though I think as we start the year, it's, some might call it the outdated Gregorian calendar kind of model. Some people would say, we're just arbitrarily naming dates now. And a minute today is a completely different period of time than a minute was 4 years ago. Just like 1 month today is like a very different period of time than it was, 4 years ago. They're just completely different in terms of how much experiential energy packs into it. So when we talk about starting new cycles, I think the human measured year is often one of the most faulty. You know what I mean? It's just I could go on and on about that, but I think you guys are going to get what I'm saying. And yet at the same time, it is also a really good place to use or a time rather, to use our co-creative manifestational energy to elicit new cycles of change. Which is, as we all know, where we get, the old school, what is it? New Year's resolutions. Which admittedly I was never good at, but I was never into them either. It wasn't like I came to the end of any years and I was going, starting next week, I'm not going to do this anymore. Because for me, I would be thinking, starting tomorrow, I'm not gonna, or I'm gonna, I do that every day of the year. You know what I mean? Literally every day of the year, I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna get my shit together. And like the next day comes and I'm like, okay, damn it, I'm gonna find, you know what I mean? And it's so for me, it's like a never ending story in that area. But one of the things I think is really fun is to get a little bit of a snapshot of where we are energetically, to get a little bit of what we might call, just an image, a representation, what we might call a primary representative for those of you guys that are familiar with multidimensional tarot. Um, and so we're going to be doing that today. We're going to be doing some readings. Um, Anyway, let me check your comments here. I also need questions. I need people to ask me questions. I'm serious. I don't think we've done this is our first live of 2024. So I have a bunch of really kind of manic, manic energy built up from the previous months of 2023. Not really, actually. It's been super chill, but as you know, I love the weirder the better. So throw us some questions, everybody. Let us know how did you guys end up 2023? Did you end up feeling victorious? Did you end up feeling regretful? Did you feel, hopeful for the next stage? How did it wrap up? I think for me, sometimes that's more important than kind of how we start. Like we look at where we've been left off at the end of a cycle and kind of take stock of everything, which is definitely something I did. Let me tell you. Um, but yeah, how did 2023 leave you? And then there's been a few what we might call current events that I guess I'm going to talk about too. But yeah, it's good. It's good to see everybody. What's up, Dawn Vibrations? You caught my eye. I do it every day as well, right? Okay, so it's like New Year's resolution. I was going to call them New Year's revelations, which kind of sounds cooler. But New Year's resolution, yeah, like for me, it's a everyday resolution. Like tomorrow, I swear it's gonna be different. We're gonna do it all differently, and then it's same shit, different day, over and over and over again. But anyway, let us know, where are you in the world as well. I saw somebody say they said they're 25. What is it? Oh, it's Libby. What's up? How's it going? Snow above 2,500 feet here in the mountains of Northern California. Getting shit done. Hell yeah. Way to go, Libby. I hope all is well for you out there. Let me tell you, the weather in Florida has been very strange. If we were ever in a really exciting pocket of technologically influenced weather cycles, it is definitely what's going on right now. It's a very, very strange and bizarre thing. It'll be like 80 degrees 1 minute, and then like 10 minutes later, somehow it goes down to like 55, and you're like, what? It's just a very unstable, I would say, weather environment at the moment. Um, but what's up, Crystal? Thank you for using all caps. That's a good way to cut through the many comments that we have in the chat. Hope you can lead another remote viewing class soon. You know what? I would like to as well. I think it's definitely coming in 2024. It was certainly the most successful of, I would say, classes we've done in quite some time. And I enjoyed it a lot. What I've noticed, and this is also a thing that I learned honestly, through human design, no less. And you guys will notice I don't talk about human design that much, mainly because I don't know too much about it. It hasn't been a thing that I've studied. And, in the beginning, I kind of got my human design typology wrong. And so I was living under this weird false idea. But anyway, later on, I had a really, really good human design reading from Kay Vaughn, who was on our channel a little bit over a year ago, I would say. I wonder if he'll ever come back. And one of the things that I had learned through that experience, which was really helpful for me, because I am a person that will do version 1 and then version 2 and then version 3 of certain things. And one of the things that I had learned from that was that was exactly the way my kind of human design process was supposed to go. That the way that I thrive, the way that I create, or I guess improve upon what it is that I'm doing, was literally like version 0.1, version 0.2, and 0.3. And so what I've noticed over the years is that as we've done like the chakra class, I think we're going to be entering our 5th year of chakra study this year. Meridians as well, though I think we did the meridian class a few less times, tarot as well. What I've noticed is that every cycle gets better. in a weird way, in a very strange way. And so cycle 2 of the remote viewing class, I my prayer is I would my hope is that it's going to be even cooler than the first one, but who knows? I don't know that I necessarily have a timeline for that at the moment. I'm not exactly sure when we'll do it. um I feel like possibly the first class of 2023, or what? Strike that, reverse it, of 2024. I think the first class of 2024 is probably going to be chakra study again, scalar toning and chakra activation. And I don't know, maybe I'll put out another poll. We did a poll on the channel 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I don't know. Honestly, my concept of time is horrible. And I think in the end, everybody chose chakra class. It was kind of one of those like, what classes should we do in the next few months? And there was a much larger response for chakra class. But since we have a few people with us here right now, if you're one of the people that has been, following our channel, or maybe you've been a part of some of our groups or the classes that we've done for some time, give me a little bit of idea. What do you want to see? What would you want to take part in? Where do you feel that your energy is leading you in 2024? The primary focuses of what we've been doing within, what we might call the school of multidimensional intuition, has been around decoding, understanding, activating non-physical energetic anatomy. And as you guys all know, I've said this a million times, that's just the lens through which I have been able to understand the process of psychic activation and how to create change within the human body through accessing the non-physical anatomy. And so that's why we do chakra class. That's why we do meridians. That's why we do, I guess, multidimensional tarot is a whole other thing. But and then we did our psychic defense one last year, which was also really cool. I think we launched it during the year at an awkward time. It was at kind of a weird time during the year. I think had we have done it a little bit later, maybe it would have been a little bit different. And the fun thing is, for 2024, it's going to be more than 2 sessions. That was, oh man, you guys, and I guess we're talking through this together on YouTube, but man, that was a major lesson, I think, for those of you guys that attended our psychic defense and yeah, I think that's what it was, psychic defense and awareness. I'm looking through the chat. There was, yeah, I see a couple of you guys. Thank you. I just want to make sure that it was who I thought it was. But yeah, I would say the overwhelming feedback that we got from psychic defense course was that it was really awesome, but we need more time. Like, it's hard to pack so much information into a weekend. And I think, in kind of looking back, that was where I kind of made it weird. I tried to cram it into 2 days, which for some people works really well. For some people works really, really well. But anyway, it's good to see you guys. What's up, Nora Healings? Greetings. I see you hanging out there in the chat. She says maybe something on how to find and practice balance between spirituality, healing, living 3D, and disconnecting. That's a very, very wise choice. And that is a very, very wise idea. Huh. Interesting. Thank you for that. Really, really, really good one. Thank you. I think that's critically important. Yeah, thank you. Crystal says psychic defense class would also be useful. I agree, and I think more because I really enjoyed doing it, because it's one of our opportunities to go through a really fun qigong workout that I still do. I still do it to this very day. Still do it to this very day. What's up? Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Amanda Gifford says psychic defense sounds great. Totally. You never know. We might be doing that. LG19, how's it going? How to generate or recoup primal energy, prana or chi? Absolutely. I'll tell you one way, and everyone out there knows there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go, oh my God, here he goes. Honestly, Qigong, if you start doing Qigong every day, then to me, that has been the number one way to cultivate life force energy within the body. And so anyway, watch out. You got somebody already knows I will go on and on and on about it. What's up? Welcome, Healing. So glad you addressed the weather in Florida. I was watching and wondering what you're experiencing. It's been very strange. Nothing bad. It's not chaotic. I mean, it's chaotic, but not like intensely chaotic. It's just very strange where you step outside and it's like, wait a minute, this is a completely different world than it was, yesterday, which I will say thank you for that welcome healing. That is an observation I'm going to make, which is a thing I think everyone that's watching will have observed in your own way. And if you haven't observed this in your own way, I'd like you to look out for it. Tomorrow morning will be a really, really good chance to do so. One of the things that I think takes place at a closing and a starting of a cycle, and I just went on this long rant about, the human created versions of cycles, the ones that we arbitrarily decide upon, and then, astrological cycles, and even the larger, greater cycles. Um, as we go through those processes and those moments, there is a natural shifting of timelines, which I know is still kind of a cringe new age buzzword for a lot of people because so many people define a timeline through many different definitions. And so I'll just define a timeline really, really quickly. What I mean by a timeline is a arc or a period of experiential reality, a time period that you live through. It can take 20 years for a timeline. You could be on a timeline for 5 minutes. You can be on one for 5 years. It is an experiential arc, kind of like, a character development arc that one might experience in a movie or a book. They go through a process of learning and discovery and experience, and inevitably that process will close and we go on to another one. And so, as we're going through timeline shifts in our human journeys, not only are we shifting through different experiences, we're also shifting through different versions of ourselves. And what I've noticed, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to agree with me. There's stages in the year, and I think over the past 5 or 6 years, it's gotten much, much greater, where those changes are happening so rapidly and they're happening so often that it's like you'll wake up in the morning and you'll walk outside and I think we were talking about this for those of you guys that saw the episode with Arkeem Ra a few days ago that just debuted. There's this thing that'll happen where it's like you will walk outside and you'll look around and, I don't know, let's say you look at your yard or, the street and you're like, it's different. That wasn't there. That wasn't that big. Has there always been that sign? Has the street always been like that? You're going to notice these strange, bizarre, unexplainable changes within your physical environment. To make it weirder, sometimes you'll notice them within yourself. You'll notice them within your face. You'll notice them within the mannerisms of your loved ones and your friends and your family. And it's not like you're in a completely different world. They're so small that they're nearly imperceptible. Only those that are often walking the path of kind of multidimensional awareness and noticing the passages and flows of non-physical energy are going to be noticing these things. But if you have not done so already, this is a good time. Notice every day the subtle changes in your physical environment that seem nearly imperceptible. And, it's like you can't make out, was it always like that? Was it always this way? Was it always that color? Everyone knows about the Mandela effect now. It's really old news. It's so old news that it's kind of just like an accepted thing, even though no one really knows why. And for those that have kind of studied and kind of watched that process, a lot of us chalk it up to the process of rapid timeline shifting. Or when we do it as a collective, when we do it as a group of people, we go through this rapid timeline shift and suddenly it's life was like a box of chocolates, not life is like a box of chocolates. We have the same effects in your individual world, in your individual life. And one of the things that I've been noticing over the past few weeks, and I think, yeah, I would like to say a big part of it has to do with the changeover of the year, whether we create it or not. It looks very different, very, very different. And so I think we're going through a lot of major timeline shifts. And I think that's why this is a really good time to be very, very mindful of your thoughts, to be very, very mindful of the emotions that we invest in as we go throughout our day, as we go throughout casual contact with regular people in a regular world. Like, be mindful of where your thoughts are, be mindful of the emotions that you're feeling. I can nearly guarantee you every single person that's watching this channel right now is incredibly empathic. You are absolutely deeply, keenly, severely aware of the level to which you're absorbing emotions and energy from other people. You know, you're picking up, you just go to the grocery store and you're picking up some person's, you know, sometimes you're picking up rage, sometimes you're picking up joy, sometimes you're picking up lust. Let's be real. All of those energies are freely flowing from the human, you know, what we might call the luminous egg, 24 hours a day. It's all there. And so anyway, we are going through a stage of heavy activation. And I think that's why we have to be very aware of our thoughts, be aware of what we're focused on. I've had some excuse me, I've had some experiences with that recently where I was like on the negative side of it, you know what I mean? Where you're like in complete rage mode. Well, I was in complete rage mode, trying to drive through the armpit of Florida over here. And it was like after a short period of time, and I know this sounds kind of trite and kind of dumb and kind of, you know, like whatever, but everyone's gonna have their own version. But it was like I became keenly aware of how my thought forms and my energy and the sort of fuck you vibe that I was sending from every bit of me as I was driving through was playing a major role in how the actual energy moved and how the cars moved and how the traffic was. And it's not to say on any level that you have control over it, right? It's like, I'm not saying like I was causing this. No, it's not even that. It's that we as empathic beings are absorbing that chaotic energy from everybody else and all of their cars and all of their own problems and all of their own world. And when you have an activated person, and it's not better or worse, stronger, weaker, it's like when you have an activated person who might not be aware of their thought forms in that moment, we start absorbing it and it becomes explosive. It's like you amplify that effect for everyone out there, which is a strength and a weakness. I know a lot of you guys are here are already very aware of how other people are feeling your moods, meaning that you're aware of how you could influence the vibe in a room. You're picking up everyone else's feelings. And anyway, we're switching timelines very rapidly. And so be mindful. I'm looking at your comments, so you can see I'm like trailing off, staring at the side of the screen here, not making sense. I'm looking at your comments here. What's up, Adam Marquise? What's happening? Question: how often do you encounter alien interferences in tech in your practice? Have they ended in 2023? That's a really good question. I believe that we have encountered what we might call interference from non-physical beings, which can come in the form of, I guess we could call it technology. It could come in many other forms. As recently as literally yesterday in the sessions that I was doing, I don't necessarily say that that's like a major deciding factor in kind of what was going on with the people that we were working with. It's just a thing that you'll kind of notice. It's kind of a byproduct of, you know, trauma and like just negative energy that people will hold on to. Would I call it though like alien interference? I don't know about that. I think a lot of the stuff that I think when it comes to like entities or really kind of like, you know, negative interference type of energies, a lot of it can come from transient spirits, you know, like passed on human energies that are trapped on the lower astral plane. A really huge part of it comes from what I call like parasit from the parasitic construct, which is probably like a whole other massive conversation in and of itself. But some people would call that archonic energy. I don't know if that's what it is. It's like this parasitic underbelly of the lower astral plane that I think that's like maybe the most common. They just create an influence and like harvest energy, and it's not like a sentient being. It's like a parasite, like a tick that's infecting your body. It doesn't have an identity. It's just like an infection. And so that I would say is a big thing. But the most common of all would be just trapped emotional trauma. Absolutely, positively, number one, trapped emotional trauma, which will metastasize. It'll turn into something that kind of encounters that. Um, but yeah, I would say direct, what we might call alien interference. I guess to really answer your question, Adam Marquise, might not have been such a factor recently. And maybe I'm not perceiving it. So I want to be really, really open about that. I might not be perceiving it as such. But yeah, it's been more our shit, if that makes sense. That's a smart question. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. We're gonna start doing some readings here deliberately in a second here. I realize I've been ranting for half an hour. Question, thoughts on dreams have been super intense since the new year, especially this last week. Yes, they are. My Lord. Yes, they are. I feel you. I think a big part of that will come healing, and I might be wrong. So I want you to check in with what you feel. This is critically, like, really check in with your body. I think a big part of it had to do with energy that we were receiving from a lot of solar activity that kicked off like maybe a week or a few days prior to that. Not that I'm one of those people that likes to, chalk it up to, it's just the X flare. That's all it is. Sometimes I think that is like a really big, it's like the tipping factor. You know what I mean? It'll be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Not that it's necessarily in a negative way, but I think when it comes to like maybe bizarre dream time stuff, that's a big factor. At least I think it's been for me, because I noticed there was a big change in that, and I guess I've been trying to figure out like, well, where was that from? What was it? It could just be me as well. But anyway, they're probably bringing up a lot of stuff to be released. I think that's a theme for all, which I guess we could say that's how it is every single day. But as we go through this man-made cycle of change, death, recreation, and rebirth, um, it does stand to reason that a lot of things that are left over from the previous year are going to they're gonna come they're gonna come knocking at our back door very, very soon. Okay, here we go. What's up, Chris Wooten? He says, question. Do you see anything about what happened to me young and even later? Is it continuing now? That's a very, very broad question. I would like you to be more specific in terms of what areas. I can tell that probably just the very fact that you're here means that there's probably a series of events that took place for you at a number of intervals during the human life cycle. But I'm not one of those people that will make some big claim and go, oh, it's exactly this when we're on, a YouTube live stream. It's like sometimes you can get direct access to a person's energy, but I would say give us another little piece of it. And we'll see. Oh, and there you are. Hey, good timing. Alien abduction. That's a good question. Let us start there. I'll pull a card for you, Chris Wooten. So we're gonna start with Chris Wooten. Take a couple deep breaths with me. Yeah, I know there's like a 10-second delay, but take a couple deep breaths in. Just expand your belly. And if you can, Chris, just bring your mind's eye back to any fragments of memories or dreams or just pieces of data within your mind that represent what you believe to be those experiences of abduction. And you can imagine, yes, there's a lot of people on this live stream, but it's going to be kind of like you're showing me a little movie or you're showing me a picture. And you might notice there's lots of energies with us. We got lots. There you go. Good job, Chris. I'm going to give you my empathic version of that question. By empathic, I mean what comes forward from the physical body on kind of a sentient level, like within the emotions, within the internal self. It feels like you're a part of a family that has had these sort of events that have been occurring somewhat regularly for quite some time. So I guess if you're wondering, like, is this true? Did it take place? In my opinion, based on what presents here today, which I know is also a very dicey thing because we're on YouTube. So I want you to take it with a grain of salt. I mean that very sincerely. Based on the energy that you present here with today, which is, limited in scope, it feels like you might have a number of ancestral connections, and there's been a familial cycle of some form of, if you want to call it extraterrestrial, or I would say more. I know this is such a loaded term, you guys, but I don't even use this phrase. So I think that's why we're going to use it, because sometimes spirit will insert it. More of kind of what we might call shadow government interference, meaning that some of the um, what we might call military industrial space type of stuff. It does look like if I were to put a label on it, I would put you more in that area rather than, just traditional Pleiadian beings cruising on in and picking you up. It looks like maybe you've had both. But I would really like you to take that with a grain of salt, and really lean into what your body regards as truth. Because a lot of times people are going to tell us a lot of things, and we're in a stage in our kind of overall soul group where it's like there's like a collective remembrance, and there's a lot of people that are tuning into parallel selves that are going through those experiences. And it's really easy to sometimes confuse parallel lives for past in terms of this life. And so I really want you to lean into what you feel is true. But to me, it feels like an ongoing ancestral connection. There's other people in your family that may have had some form of, if you want to call it abduction, you can call it abduction. To me, it feels more governmental, which is probably the wrong term, or militaristic rather than purely extraterrestrial. But um, I don't know. I hope that helps. I hope it helps. I'll leave it there. We're going to leave it there. Take it with a grain of salt. Just the very fact that you're here, just the very fact that you're here to ask that question means that there's a relevance in your world. I hope that you can accept that. Just the very fact that you're here to ask it. And so, anyway, let us keep rolling. Okay, everybody, we're going to keep rolling. I think you can do a super chat if you really, really, really want to get if you really want to get a reading quick. You can do a super chat. Otherwise, we're going to grab some of our members. If there's any channel members that are with us, if you want to get a reading, just because I know you guys put in a little bit of money here to support us every month. And so if we got any channel members, say something down in the chat. Let me know you're here so we can do a reading for you as well. But in the meantime, let's grab somebody else. Who's next? Oh, I see him. There he is. You caught my eye. What's up, sir? Hello from way up in the Arctic Circle, Matthew. Can you give me a reading about how my mission may go this year in regards to discerning friends? Oh, in regards to discerning friends from foes. Yeah. Absolutely. Very good to see you, Mr. Eric J. Hecker. Totally. Let's pull a card for you. Hopefully you're still with us. We're on a 10-second delay. Just take a really deep breath in with me. Breathing in the Arctic air. For those of you guiding Mr. Hecker, we're just looking for what do we need to know as we head into the year when we're discerning friend from foe. We're asking for questions about discernment and what needs to be known. 3, 2, 1. Well, that's an unexpected answer. Damn. Okay. Eric J. Hecker, you've received the magician. Okay. All right. So let's say if we were going to answer that question of, what do I need to know about this new year in terms of discerning friends from foe, we could even go one step further because it's the magician, right? So we're going to bring it into that realm and we're going to say, how about discerning light from dark, friend from foe, truth from lies? Because those are things that the magician would involve himself in as an alchemist, as a magical being, as a practitioner of spirit in his own way, in his own right. Doesn't have to be purely spiritual. It can be through many different roles and many different lenses. But when the magician comes into your world, and this is for the future, when it comes into your world and you're going like, well, what's coming toward me? A magician will show up in your life. And the important thing to know is that you have an opportunity for transformation in some area. However, no, it's not mandatory. It's a choice. Nobody forces you to take part in what the magician brings in your life, but when he shows up in your life and you're wondering what's happening right now, well, spirit or energy or yourself or whoever you want to call it is going to come into your life and they're going to mix things up. They're going to shake it up. They're going to mix a little bit of dark with a little bit of light, a little bit of your worst fears with your greatest strengths. And if you choose to engage with the magician, you're going to go through a process of change where usually within a few short months, and the magician could be a whole year-long journey. So it's not about the period of time. It could be a month, it could be a whole year, but usually by about 2/3 of the way through, you're going to have a moment. And I want you to look out for this moment, Eric Hecker, because there's going to come a moment in the next few months for you where you look in the mirror, wherever you are out there in the Arctic Circle, you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to look at your face, you're going to look at your hair, you're going to look at what you're wearing, and you're going to go, damn, everything's way different. Something will have shifted. Something will have changed. And it's not to mean that there's in need of shifting. It's not to say that there's something in need of healing, but something will be revealed. And it usually shows up right around the time when you're asking yourself, I thought I was going to go through a transformation, or, somebody said this was going to take place, or, I thought I was going to receive this. And then you have that moment where you look at yourself and you're like, oh shit, I'm already there. And so there's going to be some eye-opening experiences. But to go back to the question of kind of discernment of friend or foe, because I guess that's your real question. How would you do that when the magician comes into your life? Well, you must be willing to look at the darkness and the light with equal measure, with equal respect, with equal understanding. So you shy away from nothing dark. You shy away from nothing difficult. And you also embrace the lightest light. It's like you have to be willing, because like the magician's going to take the lightest light and the darkest dark within you. He's going to twist it all around and you're going to come out a very different version of yourself. So I would say, just be aware, stay on top of all sides. And anyway, I could go on and on. I feel like I'm ranting at you, Eric. Thanks for thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Good luck out there in the Arctic Circle. What's up, Dana Blazing? Thanks for being a member. She says, I would like a reading. Maybe my mom has a message for me from the other side. I'll bet you she does. And I'm going to be real. I'm not the type of person that would go about giving messages from loved ones over YouTube. I think it kind of gives us, it's a little bit of it's like a choppy sea, you know what I mean? Like you can imagine we're in the harbor and the waves are kind of like rocking, and it's not the most still and serene, energetic environment to connect with the energies of our ancestors. But oftentimes, just mentioning it, Dana, will bring her energy into your vicinity, into your room, into your life. And so just the very fact that you're saying that here today, with everyone here with us, we're going to say, we just call out to Dana's mom from the other side and ask if you have a message for Dana, that you insert yourself in her consciousness, in her world, in whatever way is available, whether that be through numbers, whether that be animals, whether it be, memories, whether it be images, whatever it takes. We're asking for you to make yourself known. And I have a weird feeling, Dana, you're going to get a weird memory or a moment in the next day or so. Or a song will play, or a thing will show up, or you'll see it. That'll be her. But we will pull a card for you. For those of you guiding Dana Blazing, it's 2024. What do we need to know? We'll keep it simple. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Oh, what? Okay. Dana Blazing. Okay. You got the moon. All right. Which is honestly very, very good. And I think we're approaching a new moon. I think we're approaching or just past. There's a new moon energy afoot. And yeah, it looks like a full moon, but that's okay. It's the energy of the moon in any form. And so when you have the moon in your reading, let's say that you're just wondering for, what's the message from spirit? What do I need to know? Then the moon rolls in. The moon is telling you, Dana, Number one, the next month or so, the next moon cycle that you're going to be in, it could be pretty intense. It's up to you if it's negative intense. It's up to you if it's positive intense. Um, it could also be both. You know what I mean? You might get a little bit of both during that 28-day cycle, but it's important for you to note that any type of spiritual activity, any form of ritual, any type of ceremony that you involve yourself with when you have this energy in your life for usually about a month-long journey is going to have a much greater effect. Like when you reach out to spirit, when you try to connect, when you go into an intentional place of, connecting with whoever it is that's with you, and this energy is on your side, be aware that something will happen, which is cool. Which is cool, right? And then it could also be not so cool, because let me tell you guys, the moon could also bring just revelations, man, like stuff that you didn't have any idea was happening. All of a sudden the moon will roll in and like that'll be revealed, or you won't see something coming, or it'll have been sitting right there in front of you all month long, and the moon rolls in and you're like, oh my god, holy shit, where did that come from? And the moon's like, it's been right here. We're right here the whole time, only now you can see it. And it could not necessarily, it might not necessarily be that cool. That's why I have to be really honest about the moon. But if you use it smartly, if you go into it knowing, all right, okay, here we go, the next about 28-day period for me could be really turbulent, or it could be really awesome. Kind of like I was saying earlier, I think I went on like a half an hour rant earlier, Dana. I don't know if you were here, and I was like, your thoughts are very important, like where you're placing your thoughts when you're in public, when you're with people, when you're out in the world, and you're noticing all those feelings and intensity of energies inside you. It's very, very, very important. And so when you have the moon, you're in a cool opportunistic stage, because you can use it to create change. Or I guess if you want to get super technical, and I'm going very severe, I guess I'm going very severe. Sorry, guys, we're going severe in tarot land. You could also cause a lot of problems for yourself. So use it wisely. It's highly potent. It's highly potent. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. It's good to see everyone. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. Please hit that like button. Help us get a little bit of help us get maybe a couple YouTube recommendations. That's a very rare thing for us. Usually our videos are so long we don't get recommended. So anyway, the right people find us at the right time. Hello, Maya Ullman. She says, I have a question that I would be super grateful to get some advice on. How do I rise into the highest version of myself that I can be in now? And how do I let go of the people who didn't choose me? It's a good question. I'm going to pull a card for you in a moment, but I want to start out by commenting on the second part of your question. And for the record, yes, I'm definitely drooling on myself, you guys. You'll probably see that. Sorry. But I want to comment on the second part of your question, which was, how do I let go of the people who didn't choose me? And maybe I am grabbing onto it in a strange way, your statement, but I really feel that. I too, I think have, and maybe this is just me speaking through what your statement means for me, but I too, I think, carry a wound from not being chosen, from those that did not choose me. And I can tell you, on a personal level, it is something that I think a lot of us deal with. A lot of us deal with that sort of wound, whenever it occurred, in whatever form it kind of made its way into your life. It's definitely a thing to contend with. And so anyway, I just want to say I feel you on that one. And I guess maybe the question is, how do we let go of it? That's where it's different for each and every person. I think in some cases, and I can just speak through my own self, through my own experience, and yes, I'm ultra simplifying it with the statement, is I had to learn how to choose myself. And then secondly, I made a choice to begin choosing others in the ways that I wish that I could have been chosen. So that may or may not make any sense to you. But thanks. Let's pull a card for you. How do we rise to the highest version of ourselves? How do we let go of those people who didn't choose us? Take a deep breath if you're still here. You never know. Some people come in and drop a question and then they roll out, but take a deep breath. Here we go. For Maya Ullman, 3, 2, 1, and boom. Whoa. Okay. This is a fun. We're getting lots of fun answers. For those of you guys that have been here before that know me, you'll be like, because you'll see all like some of the cards, like when we do them live in the moment, there's no second through which I can create a response. It's just like, here we go, and boom. So it's like, whoa. All right. So Maya Ullman, the question is, number one, how do I rise into the highest version of myself that I can be in right now? And so first off, the answer is Empress. Not that it's your only answer, not that it's the one answer. It's just the one that Spirit brought you here today. And so when you have an Empress in your life, Maya Ullman, and you're wondering, what do I need to do? You're going to need to take full and complete ownership over who and what you are as a powerful feminine being. Power being a key word, feminine being a key word. Reinventing is very, very important when you have a Empress or an Emperor and you're wondering, what's the theme? What am I meant to be doing right now? How do I this or how do I that? The Emperor and the Empress will come to a stage in which they are forced to reinvent themselves in some form or fashion in this physical life. They do it by taking full and complete ownership over who and what they are, accepting their truth, accepting their absolute true nature. And then they reinvent themselves. They don't recreate. They can't repeat anything. They have to reinvent. They have to create something entirely new. And they do it by learning how to flex control, by learning how to become comfortable with the places in which you are powerful. And those are going to be different places for each and every person. So you have to look into your life in places or times or experiences in which the world has reflected your power, because you're going to need to start reflecting that back at other people. And then you're also going to need to learn how to take control in a very, very new way, because you can imagine if you were an Empress, let's just look at like the theme of being the Empress. The Empress is the primary feminine controller. In the world of multidimensional tarot, there's no other woman above Empress. She's the number one. She's the, what we might call the great mother, if you want to go that far. And if you want to get really technical, Maya, she's also your mother, your mother's ancestry, all of the feminine ancestors on that side of your life. So, if you want to go really far with it, you can go really far. But usually for the here and now, when we're on a path of self-improvement, it is about taking full ownership over who and what you are, creating a new relationship with power, and learning to reinvent yourself. Now, onto the idea of how do we let go of those who didn't choose us. And I'm gonna ask this question for myself too, and anyone else who didn't get chosen by the world. Boom. Oh, okay. All right. Answer number 2 is a fun one. And I want to say this answer is aimed at a lot more than just me and Maya Ullman. This is for a lot of other people too, okay? How do we let go of those who did not choose us? Whether there was a deep connection, whether there was no connection, whether we were seeking the connection, whether we wanted or whatever we wanted, it doesn't matter. How do we heal? How do we let go? You've received an Ace of Swords. And so when you have an Ace of Swords and you're wondering, how do I, whatever the operative thing is, whatever the thing is, and some of you guys know what I'm about to say. Some of you guys that have been here before, you know this, you know the whole spiel. When you have an ace in your life, or especially if you have Ace of Swords, you are in a timeline shift opportunity with respect to your cycles of communication, the way that you're received by the world, the way that you're being heard by the world, the way that you speak, the way that you present yourself, the way, literally everything about how you communicate yourself to the world. When the Ace of Swords comes into your life, you are in a timeline shift opportunity within those areas, but it's at the cost of you being willing to note your personal cycles, meaning the things that happen every few years, every few months, every so this or that, or whatever it is. You'll notice certain things will come back, old feelings, old problems, old this or that. So you'll be able to notice the cycles of social upheaval or approval or whatever the thing is. And then you must absolutely shatter or break those cycles. You have to force yourself to do things so differently that the people who knew you from the past, let's personalize it. Let's say those who did not choose us. All right. Let's make it about that question, not to cheapen it by saying it too much, but you must be willing to do something so different that all those people from the past, whoever that person is, would look at you and go, "What? Really? She did? Oh my God. Okay. Well, oh, and it's totally working. Holy shit. Wow." It's like you will blow them out of the water by forcing the world to respond to you completely differently. Which, if you want to get super technical, you guys, that's how you change a timeline. It's like you have to baffle the matrix. In this case, the lens through which you will be doing it is through your voice, through the way you communicate, through the things that have been left unsaid in the human journey for you, my Ullman, for myself, for everybody else. Probably a bunch of other people. Anybody else who needed to hear that. But yeah, thanks, you guys. I hope that helps. Hang in there. I hope it helps. Boom. We grabbed a random one. Oh, it was a question. Good. What's up, Rox? I just saw an alien face and I put it on the screen. So I'm glad that it was a question because it might have just been a random comment. But anyway, what's up, Rox? What is it I need to hear from my higher selves out there in the furthest of galaxies? That possible to know? Yeah, let's see. What is it? Yeah, okay. I think that's a very reasonable question. I'll say this again, though. I say it too many times. Take everything with a grain of salt, you guys. For those of us that do this work on a professional level, will know, and I know there's a lot of professionals that watch our page, when you're doing readings over social media like this, one card readings, it's like you're pulling from a really big pool of energy. And each response can apply to many different questions and many different people at the same time. So for some people, it's going to hit perfectly. For other people, it'll be someone else's question. And you'll be like, that doesn't have anything to do with what I was wondering. But yes, it does, because we are all sharing this now moment. So the answers we give are for more than just us, more than just Rox. Although we're aiming it at you, Rox. It's going, I'm just going to shoot it directly at you. But some other people are going to, they're going to need to hear this as well. But for those of you guiding rocks, and you're just going to take a big, deep breath when you hear me say that, deep and slow. We're just asking for any messages from the higher self. In 3, 2, 1, and boom. What? Okay. All right. This is a fun one to get, rocks. I would, in my opinion, 5 of Wands is a useful energy to receive. I say useful, not necessarily enjoyable, not necessarily super good. And I got to be real, things may have been very chaotic recently. There might be, maybe posturing, there might be competition. And it doesn't mean that you're involved in it. You might be seeing it amongst other people. You might be seeing the chaos, or maybe you're involved in the chaos on some, even a small level. When a 5 of Wands shows up in your life, you guys, and rocks, you're going to be noticing the chaos in the world. You're going to be feeling it. You're going to be seeing it. But when you really look at it, you'll notice that no one's really hitting each other. That's an important symbolic thing to note. It's almost like they're all inserting themselves very awkwardly. It's a strange place to be. You'll wonder, are we fighting or are we dancing? Because some people would look at this and they're like, well, maybe they're choreographing something, and they're all, clashing together, whatever it is, you're going to create your own version of it. The Five of Wands is when that energy turns chaotic, and it's what we would call an unbalanced physical environment or physical atmosphere. And so the question is, you got to ask yourself, where am I attempting to insert myself where I am not needed? Or what position am I attempting to maintain that I am, forcing in some way or another? And it's not to say that you are. We're not defining you as such. This is kind of food for thought when we say, well, what do you guys want me to know? They're asking us to take a look at those places in our life where we might be forcefully inserting ourselves or in competition with other people. And so maybe you'll have one or two areas, maybe you'll have a lot of areas, who knows? But the antidote, whenever you get fives, you guys, just so you know, you've probably heard me say this before, all of the fives are what we call transitory states of disconnection or chaos. They only last as long as you remain deeply focused on it. So usually when you stop tripping out on something and paying attention to it and focusing on it every day, suddenly it's just like, what was that? Oh, I don't know, whatever. And you'll just go on to something else. But the whole antidote for Five of Wands is you're going to remove yourself from something. And sometimes physically, sometimes you'll just not show up for something. Sometimes you'll just have a big thing to say and you'll realize like, okay, here we go. And then you'll be like, whatever. You'll just pack it up and like, yeah, I don't even care, dude. Whatever, man. You guys can fight over that parking spot. I'm just going to go over there. I'm going to pull out entirely. So, you have authorization to pull out of something if you want to get technical. If you feel like you're in a battle with people in your life in any area and a Five of Wands rolls in, you guys, Spirit saying, look, this is going to be a lot of competition. It's going to at times feel like a fight, and next day it'll be a dance. If you want to rid yourself of it, you can just pull out entirely right now. And so I hope that helps in some way. I feel like I'm rambling at you, Rocks. I feel like I'm rambling at you, but I hope it helps. Oh, thank you for your confirmation. Thank you. John Kin says, will I get a reading? Question. The answer is yes. Let's see what's happening. Thanks for showing up, John Kins. And it's a lot of heavy drooling going on today, you guys. That is no joke. It's been a while. It's been a while since we had heavy drooling on a live stream. But let us begin. For those of you guiding John Kins in this current incarnational cycle, we're just looking for a little bit of news, anything that needs to be known as we step into the year of 2024. In interest of empowerment and clarity and healing. The throat chakra, possibly thyroid energy, but I would put it more cervical spine. So it's, it's like in the back of your neck. It's just an area of energetic activity right now. Maybe just take care of it. Notice any changes there. Who knows? Maybe you've been having even some headaches lately. But it just feels like that. As soon as I zoom in on you, it just feels like there's just energy built up there. That could also be, like we were saying with another person a few moments ago, things left unsaid, stuff that needs to be communicated to the world, will sort of rise up into the throat. And it doesn't mean it gets let out. It doesn't mean it gets, expressed. It should be. Usually on an ideal level, we would be expressing it, but sometimes we just hold it there. For some people it can create difficulty, but you'll know if there's relevance, you'll know. And so we shall pull a card for you. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and John Kins. Boom. Whoa. Hey. Okay. This is a good moment, John Kins, and anyone else. And I mean this when I say anyone else as well, but damn, you got the pinnacle of fire. So let's aim this at the beginning of 2024. And today you have received the Ace of Wands. And so you might have been here a little bit earlier when somebody received the Ace of Swords, and we were talking about, her question had to do with, not being chosen, and I think I made it into my own wound thing. Anyway, it was a fun moment. But the synchronicity that I'm trying to bring up here is that it was also an ace. And so just like with the Ace of Swords, you guys, when you have an Ace of Wands in your life, and so this is for John and whoever else feels drawn to this card, when you have an Ace of Wands in your life, you have a timeline shift opportunity this year. And it could just be right now, but we're going to aim it at the year because we're at the beginning of a new cycle, even if it's when we created. And so when you have an Ace of Wands in your life, this will encompass, I'm going to show you, I'll tell you what areas does this involve, John? It involves masculinity, sexuality, passion, creation, your career, your job, your DNA, literal fire in your life, which can be anything from passion to anger to rage. It is the pinnacle of the energy of fire in one's life, and it is pure creation energy. It is pure masculine fire, which is good for both men and women. It's not gender specific, but some of us out there will notice it is very phallic. And so honestly, for men in general, just in general, for men in general, this is a really good energy to receive. Because if you're wondering how might this play out in my journey, it's a resurgence of what this represents in one's life. It's like this element will show up and everything will start to renew itself, or you'll receive an opportunity to completely regenerate certain things in your life when an Ace of Wands comes in. But it's going to be based upon you being willing to make really, really big choices, really bold choices, really bold decisions, to embrace passion, to embrace fire, to only follow what causes your heart to burn. Because when you do so and you have this energy, it shows up in your life and you're able to notice your cycles. And so everyone has cycles, every few years we have. And just remember the areas it involves: sexuality, masculinity, career, job, the physical body, passion, anger, rage, destruction, literal fire. When you have that, you're going to need to notice the cycles of your life in which those themes or those energies are present, because this will show up in that spirit saying, look, if you address those areas and if you make major changes in those areas, you can have massive physical changes. I would say when it comes to the cycles of aces, you guys, when it comes to the cycles of aces, the Ace of Wands will bring the most physical change. Why does it bring the most physical change? Because wands are the realm of, what takes place physically. It's not the element of earth, that's pentacles, but wands take place on the physical plane. And so there can be lots of physical events. Anyways, John Kins, before I go on too long, it's time to make very, very bold choices when it comes to masculinity, the physical body, regeneration of such, your passion, your job, intimacy of all kinds. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be regenerating those things in your life by making very bold choices. Like we said with the Ace of Swords, you're going to do things that people from your past would be like, what, John? No, he's not. That's crazy. What? Oh, shit, he is. Oh my God. And then they see you. You know how, and this is for anyone out there, you know how every now and then you won't see one of your old friends for years, right? And you're like, so, so what happened to so and so? You'll be like, well, yeah, what happened to John Kins? Remember that guy? And then they show up, right? And they're like wearing totally different clothing and they have like this totally different hairstyle and their body looks different, like maybe they got in shape or something, and you see them and you're like, damn, like, whoa, I don't know what you did, but it like worked. You'll see people that have gone through a shift like that. We've all seen them, and you'll be like, I don't know what you did, but you're looking really good. This is the type of energy, you guys, that will bring those changes in your life. The aces, it's not just the Ace of Wands, technically, because people that know tarot out there will be like, what do you mean? So it's all of the aces will bring it. in particular areas, but you got to be bold. You got to be super determined. So anyway, John, I'm over answering your reading, but it's for a lot of other people too. And so thanks, you guys. Let's keep rolling. We're going to keep rolling. And my nose is going to keep on running. That's just how it goes at the multidimensional trailer park. Those that have been here have noticed that tends to happen. It tends to happen. Let's keep going. We have, oh, cool. We got, what's up, Selena? Thank you. Thank you for your super chat. Super chats are certainly not required, but they're a really, really good way to get my attention. And so, you know how, I'm just saying, don't worry, YouTube keeps half of it, but I'm just saying it's a very, very, it's a good way to get one's attention. And so thank you for your support, Selena. What do we need to know for those of you guys assisting Selena at this stage? And Selena, you can take a couple really slow breaths. When you let that breath out, it's like you're going to sigh, like you're going to go, you know, and you kind of breathe out like that. Do it again. Well, you're certainly one of the people that's been going through a big timeline shift over the past few months. And I guess I say that kind of also knowing just little fragments of stuff from groups that you've been in. So, you know, I guess I have a little bit of front loading on that. But it looks like a big part of something that's happening for you right now, at least, is kind of like the stage in which the caterpillar will go into, you know, the little cocoon. Only your cocoon, it's not going to necessarily be away from the world. You're still in the world. It's just you're going to be going through an internal metamorphosis over the coming months. Internal being the key, because it looks like from an empathic perspective, and I want you to take it with a grain of salt, but it feels like there's some belief systems that you're resetting right now, or that you're being called to reset, in terms of what you're good enough to have or receive, maybe in terms of belonging, in terms of what we would call even companionship and how you're redefining certain things in your life. You're also getting to know yourself on a greater level when it comes to flexing power, as many other people are doing. So one of the things you'll be doing in the coming months is redefining that. It's a common theme for a lot of people. The reason why I say that, though, is it feels as though there's a power source of energy within the body. For you, it's solar plexus. Just so you know, you might feel a little bit of strangeness there when I say it, but it's like spinning, but it could go way faster. You know what I mean? It's like there's momentum that is available to you that's going to assist you in this coming year, but it needs an assignment. It needs to be put into something or channeled into something. And those are the things that you're going to be taking into this sort of metamorphosis kind of cocoon, and ultimately creating another version of yourself. So it's like, you know, all of the shit that you had to go through in 2023 was not for nothing. You're building a new character. So anyway, I know I'm going on and on. We're either going to confirm or deny that with a card, or maybe they're going to add on to it. But 3, 2, 1, and boom. It's okay. I would say it's a good confirmation, but it's also kind of a, well, first off, Selena, you got a 6 of Swords. And so for some people, it's a gloriously beautiful answer. For other people, it's like a little bit of good news and a like, oh, really? You know, because it's incomplete in a lot of ways. And so I guess if you're wondering, going back to, you know, what we might call messages from the higher self in the interest of, you know, metamorphosizing and turning into a new version of yourself in the coming months ahead, we look forward for confirmation or denial or anything that can be added. And you receive a 6 of Swords. And when this comes into your life, You're not going to know what the next destination is. That's why it kind of sucks. We don't know where we're going. We don't know who's going to be with us. We don't even know how we're going to get there. And that's why it's hard, because spirit's confirming, like, look, yeah, we don't, we kind of are taking you on a little journey right now, and you don't get to know where you're going. You don't get to know who's going to be with you in the boat. You don't get to know what you're going to do when you get to the other side of the shore. That's why it's hard. But one thing you do know is you have lots of tools. Look at all the swords you have. I mean, seriously, though, look at all the swords you have. These are abilities, these are tools, these are skills. Sure, they're not going to row you across the water right now. So, right now, at the beginning of 2024, you're not going to know which way you're going to go. Just know that you have the tools to succeed. And right now, Spirit's taking you on a little bit of a journey. So, I guess that's a really super long winded way of saying you must have faith right now. You're going through a metamorphosis. Reacquaint yourself with power and regenerate momentum in your life. Work on solar plexus. And anyway, I'm just ranting at you, Selena. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Who is next? Oh, we got another one. What's up? Thank you, Joanna LeBlanc. How's it going? Can't make a choice between two things. Why can't I hear my guides or intuition? Is one way better over the other? That's a good question. Okay, I'm going to kind of answer the second part of that first. Why can't I hear my guides or intuition? And so I'm just going to say it, okay? I want you to take everything with a grain of salt. You already know this. You are already and this is just what it appears. Let me be more specific. This is what it appears as though when I attempt to reach out to the energy that presents as Joanna, it feels as though you have what we might call a semicircle of beings or versions of yourself that are surrounding you in this now moment, and also a lot of other moments. It's not like they're always physically there, right? Surrounding you. But for most of us, what we might call a semicircle orientation, meaning that you're going to be placed at the front of the circle, and then there's going to be like several kind of beings that will stand behind us, in a circular form. It feels as though you have that. I call it the entourage effect at times. Not everyone presents with that energy. Some people will have one or two, like kind of over their shoulder, or sometimes people will have like a wisp of energy that kind of connects out of the energy body. Not that I can necessarily tell what that is. I don't think that any one person can. I think sometimes we can get an idea of where it leads off to. But anyway, I'm kind of trailing off. What I'm trying to say is that you have, I think, a whole host of energies that are connecting with you in the now moment. If I were to guess, when it comes to maybe you not discerning such energies, it feels like one part of it has to do with self-trust. One part of it has to do with, oh, weird. That's a fun choice of this is a fun term. I have not used this term. Comparative expectations. Comparative expectations. They're speaking to you in different ways than they speak to other people. It's a way that you design for yourself. And so I can say it does feel like you got a lot of internal dialogue going on. I would say one of the things you could do if you wanted to maybe reduce the noise in the background would be to work on gallbladder for you. And that's a universal answer for everyone, just because it kind of moderates the level of kind of mind chatter that like one will have. I would say if you can, just do some crown chakra work so that everything is a bit more open. You might even just need some more time in silence. And I guess that's one of those things where it's really easy for me to say, you know what I mean? It's really easy for me to be like, well, I'm perceiving your energy, and you have this and you have that. And I think in some cases a person could say something like that, and in the wrong hands could very, very well mislead someone. So I want you to check in on, how you're feeling about that. One thing I can tell you is that it doesn't necessarily feel like you, and this is the empathic part. I'm going to pull a card for you in a second here, Joanna, because I feel like I'm kind of relying too much on empathic energy. It doesn't necessarily feel like you're required to make a hard and fast choice of one or this versus that in the now moment. It feels as though you may have a desire for some kind of finality or some form of an experience or some form of an understanding or even a confirmation or even some type of, validation in some area of one's life. And so I would start out by saying, from an empathic perspective, it feels as though the choice you're making is one that you might be kind of pressurizing yourself with. That said, before I go on too long, I'm going to pull a card because I feel like I'll just talk at you for a minute when we could just pull a card on it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and boom. What? That's a fun one. Oh, I love it. Joanna LeBlanc, congratulations. Don't ever get weird when the devil comes out, you guys, because the devil's going to come out in your readings in times when you need big answers. And every now and then those big answers are going to be like, well, what am I? Is it me? Is it them? Is it this? Is it that? Is it this thing? What does this actually represent? And so I'm going to aim this at the part where it says can't make a choice between two things. Is one way better over the other? The devil rolls in never to say you're doing evil. It doesn't say satanic. It doesn't, and I know you know this, Joanna, so I'm just going to go through the spiel. It doesn't say evil. It doesn't say satanic. It doesn't say forces of darkness. That's not what the devil is meant to represent in multidimensional tarot. What it represents is us, our shadow self, our desires, our sort of our need to have or to hold or to consume or to feel, or in some cases to sabotage or to exact some control over something that cannot be controlled. Look at the nature of the devil in Robin Wood Tarot, you guys. It's not a Baphomet symbol. It's not some spooky thing. It's just a couple of people in a dark hole trying to pull something out that can never be pulled out. And so I would take it as maybe a little bit of a confirmation that you don't necessarily need to make a choice. And yeah, I don't know. I honestly, when I feel your energy, Joanna, it feels like you're in an upgrade stage, and it's like things are going to be really bumpy and weird, and you're coming to a new stage of like understanding how you're manifesting things and also the ways in which you're kind of blocking manifestation. And so anyway, take it with a grain of salt. I feel like I might be disproportionately kind of focusing on your question, but yeah, hang in there. Give yourself a break. You got a lot of guide activity. Sometimes we think that our thoughts are our own. It's like, I just woke up and I was thinking of this or that. I keep thinking of it all day long. It doesn't always mean it's us. A lot of cases, it's your guides. Look for a message first thing in the morning. For those, this is for everybody. It's for everyone. Do it tomorrow morning when you wake up. Try to remember, as soon as consciousness comes into your body, just reach out and feel. Try to remember what you're doing. Try to remember what you're receiving. That is a time period in which spirit will deeply, deeply send messages. We don't always receive them, but it's like, kind of like how you're walking out the door and someone's all, wait, hold on. Here you go. Just take this with you. And they'll try to hand you something right as you're going out the door. It's usually important, right? You know what I mean? Think about it. It's usually important, right? So just notice what comes up when you wake up in the morning, okay? Sorry, I'm going on and on, everybody. Thanks, you guys. Yep, we pulled it last night. What? What's up, Amanda Gifford? She says, thanks, Matthew Late here. Can you pull a card for guidance for my mom and I and the challenges we currently face? Yes. Yes, we can. For those of you guiding Amanda Gifford and her mother, we're just looking for any available intel or advice or anything that needs to be noted just about the nature of challenges or difficulties currently going on in their world. Three, two, one, and boom. Well, this is a glorious non-answer. Amanda Gifford, in response to your question, looking for guidance surrounding the challenges you currently face, you have received a King of Cups. And so when a King of Cups shows up in your life, I would say the first thing to note is there's usually going to be some part of yourself, whether it's physical, whether it's internal, that's going to be very isolated. And so you need to look at the places or the elements of yourself that are isolated, that aren't in physical contact with the world, that aren't making regular contact in some form so that they can refill or sort of, reintegrate pieces of themselves along the way. The King of Cups is classically an isolated being. In this case, you can see him. He's a little man on a little rock in the middle of the ocean. And he is also the deepest. He comes with incredible, remarkable, unfathomable depths within himself, meaning that, within the King of Cups and probably within you as well are going to be vast stores of ancient knowledge, many abilities, all kinds of just energies and experiences and so many things. And that's where the problems come in, because King of Cups will kind of drown within himself, within the depth of himself, within the gravity of sometimes the isolation that he's created in his life, or the manner in which he sometimes, got to be real, refuses to connect the way other people do in the physical world. He'll hold themselves in a difficult position, waiting for people to notice, waiting for people to come calling, and they might not. They'll just be like, oh, well, there's King of Cups over there. Yeah, there she is. Oh, yep, she's over there. And King of Cups, or, maybe you as King of Cups will be waiting. Maybe we've been laying in wait for something to occur, for something to happen. And I guess the hard part about that is for King of Cups, it doesn't normally happen. They have to become willing to take action in a new place in their life. They have to be willing to express something or to come to a level of internal truthfulness within themselves about certain things. It's like you'll have to go deeply within yourself to have a revelation about maybe why we are or who we are or what we are or what it is that we're trying to do. Or in the case of certain challenges, we'll be wondering, how did I end up like this? How did I get in this position? And a King of Cups will come in. And I guess I'm be real. He's going to give you some awkward news. I'm going to be very real. He'll come in and he'll say, well, you kind of did it to yourself in a couple ways. You haven't, people don't really know you, and you haven't really put yourself out there. And, maybe, we could have said a lot more. We could have been more present. King of Cups, those are things that as a person, they might not do. And as a result, they're going to have needs that don't get met. And so the King of Cups is a very curious balance between being the deepest, most expansive, most knowledgeable, one of the most ancient and empathic beings in the world of tarot. And he has to go through this battle of no one ever seeing it. Kind of like the Knight of Pentacles will wait forever to be chosen. We were talking about people getting chosen and not getting chosen earlier. Knight of Pentacles will wait forever to be chosen, and they never will. Likewise, King of Cups will wait for an entire lifetime to be understood deeply, and he never will, until he goes all the way down into the depths of himself and comes back out with an ultimate truth, with an ultimate understanding, with the true essence of who and what he is. And he has to come to a deep understanding within himself. And so I guess that's me aiming this more at you from an existential and an emotional perspective. If we were to look at it from what we might call a physical perspective, they're going to need to take new efforts and come up with new methods to fill one's cup. So you're going to be asking yourself, how do I, quote unquote, fill my cup? What fills my cup in this physical human journey, which could be many things, could be a lot of things. You got to ask yourself, what are you seeking? What are you looking for? Once you know how you fill your cup, then you will say, okay, well, what do I need to do in a new way to bring some, you know what I mean? Like what new action do I need to take? Because let's be real, I'm gonna end with this. King of Cups has more knowledge and depth and mystical energy than most people in the world of multidimensional tarot. But unless he climbs off that rock and the world gets to know him once again, nobody will ever know. It sucks to say it. The world might never know. I hope that helps. Thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate you, Amanda Gifford. Next up, boom. Tiffany Pertel, how's it going? There's a lot of drooling and like post-nasal drip happening over here at the multidimensional trailer park. But it just happens. Like over the years, I've come to notice it just kind of it's a thing. It just takes place. And so we just become accepting of the bizarre mannerisms that we endure. And anyway, this is for Tiffany Pertel. And I want to say once again, it's for anyone else, because some of you guys, you're going to have a moment. Maybe you're rolling in here and you're going to be like, well, that can't be about me. It's about that person on the screen. In many cases, it is also for you. That is the nature of multidimensional tarot. It encompasses many timelines, many selves, all at the same moment, many directions, many answers. We could say many different realities at the same time. And this might be one of those rare moments where in a few moments where I actually go get a tissue. I might do it. In a second. Let's see how we make it through this one. And anyway, my nose is running wildly on our live stream. But for Tiffany Pertel, she says, any intuitive messages from my guide team in terms of my connection with them? Here we go. What do we need to know for Tiffany Pertel? 3, 2, 1. Intuitive messages from your guide. Whoa. Okay. This is a good one. Thank you, Tiffany. First off, I'm going to say somebody's communicating with you in dreams. Very important. That's just one of the details of the star. If you're wondering, where's my guides? What's happening? What's going on around me? Number one, you're a bridge between the spirit world and the physical world. You could be in a massive way. You could be in a small way. You could be in a growing way. Sometimes you'll be in a way that you're denying it from your current reality. It doesn't matter where you fit in there, but the star is meant to show you that you are a bridge between the spirit world and the physical world. It's very reliant upon the openness of your crown chakra. So if you're wondering, is there a place on myself that I can focus energy on or intention? It'll be the top of your head at the crown. And so I guess if you're asking, is there a specific message though from one's guides? It is often to listen to the substance of one's thoughts, to look at the fabric of one's dreams, to note the subtle messages and the synchronicities in one's life. You know, sometimes for some people, it's like the 1111s or the 4444s, or whatever it is. For some people, it's a seemingly cheesy numerical pattern that we will see. For other people, it'll be a song. For some people, it'll be a moment or a word that will be said. And when the star comes in, it's you're wondering about messages or guidance, Spirit's going to be communicating with you in that form. And the way that you're going to be receiving it is by keeping your crown chakra opening and remembering that you are a bridge between the spirit world and the physical world. And the more that you can come to acceptance of that, the more that you can grow that and foster that understanding within yourself, the more you're going to be able to be in what we would call constant contact with those forces of spirit that are outside of us. And so it's a little bit of a different form for each and every one of us, but I would say just work on your crown. Work with the crown. It'll certainly help. It will certainly help. Okay. I have a question for you guys. This seriously though, I think we have asked this question before. And what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you this question and then I'm going to go run and get a tissue from the next room. But in the meantime, for those of you guys that are here, I'm going to ask you this question and I want to get a few people's answers. And then we're going to do some more readings in a second as well. But some of you guys know the question I'm going to ask. It's just kind of it's a little bit of a typology question when you're trying to understand more about yourself and others in a group. And so here's the question. You have an ability. You're going to be the only person in the world with this ability, and you get two choices. Okay, we're going to give you a choice today between two superpowers. Okay, you guys. Like I said, you're the only one in the world that gets to have this superpower. But here's your choices. One, you can fly, meaning you can fly anywhere. You can just kick off and fly through the air. All right. Or you can turn invisible, meaning you just boom, and you're gone. You're invisible. You're still there, but you're invisible. Those are your two choices. Okay, so I want to hear it in the chat. We're going to come back in approximately 15 seconds or less, probably way less actually, and we're going to discuss your choices. So congratulations, you've been granted a superpower. You're the only person in the world that has this power, and you get one of two choices. You can either fly, meaning you can just kick up in the air and fly wherever you want on planet Earth, or you can turn invisible at will, just blink out instantaneously. And so with that, I want to look for some answers. I'll be right back, you guys. 3, 2, 1, talk amongst yourself. Okay, we're back. So we made it. That was good. You know, usually when you do dead air over like a podcast or the radio or a live stream, a bunch of people leave. So thank you. Thank you to everybody who stayed. That was cool. I expected half of everybody to be gone by the time I came back. Thank you, everyone. Okay, let's see your answers. Here we go. The question was, if you just walked in the door, the question is, you've been granted a superpower. You're the only person in the world that gets the superpower. You get one of two things. You can either A, fly, or 2, become invisible at will. Let's go up to the top. Let's find our first one, our first answer. Oh, it was Selena. Okay, Selena says fly. Okay, so Selena's going to be flying. Okay, interesting. Interesting. April Jones, what's up? Flying is overrated. Invisible. Oh, okay, so we got invisibility. Okay, so we have one for flying. We got invisibility. What's up, Mary H? Oh, we got another invisible. Oh, whoa, a lot more people than expected are choosing invisible. Dawn vibrations. Okay, invisible. Adam Marquise, answer, invisible. Okay, we got so far invisibility is beating out flying, but wait, Claudette Burns rolled in. She's flying. Okay, so Selena and Claudette, you guys in your own timelines, you're going to be flying. Mary, Adam, Dawn, April, you guys are going to be invisible. Oh, Uni Matrix is going to be flying as well. Okay, nice. All right, so we're getting somewhat of an even mix. Andromedan, I think Andromedan's going to choose flying. I had a feeling. Michelle Moore, what's up? Invisible, good choice. Smart choice. I guess I'm already revealing my choice. Sorry, guys. My choice would be invisibility. Which is weird because if you know me, you'll hear me talk about how I've felt invisible my whole life. So maybe I'm like comfortable in my invisibility trauma bond where I'm like, oh, it's okay. I've been invisible forever. Now we're really going to do it. But anyway, totally. I'd really have to dress warmly. If you would have to dress, you could freeze out there. See, you know, I mean, you're still subject to the, to the environmental hazards. Just like if you're invisible, you could still get slammed in a door. You know what I mean? You could still be stuck on an airplane and it's totally full and there's nowhere for you to sit and you have to like somehow be invisible standing on an airplane. That would be awkward. Somebody out there will tell how much I already thought about it. You know what I mean? But it could get weird for each of us. Leyland knows. Yeah, I feel you, right? All right. I'm already invisible, so but see, I would rather go professionally in invisible then, because Leyland, if you were going invisible, what would stop you from, theoretically walking into the Vatican, Area 51? You know what I'm saying? You could go anywhere. But likewise, if you were flying, I mean that'll show people kind of a little bit about themselves, a little bit about how they perceive themselves. Not that there's good, bad, right, or wrong. There's all different, many, many different versions of us. But we got a couple other flyers. Welcome Healing is going to fly. See, here's the thing. That's a smart choice. That is a smart choice. Flying is brilliant. You're going to be the only one. You're going to be an instant superhero. I mean, seriously, you are going to be an instant superhero. April Jones is smart, right? I know, right? If you're smart, you can fly for free in invisibility. But like I said, you can tell I thought about it, because I'm like, but what if you got caught on one of those flights and there's too many people, or I don't know. It could get weird. It could get weird. Adam Marquis says invisible skill doesn't include. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say, for the sake of fairness, it does. So we're going to say that anything on your body, and we could even say anything in your pocket. So if you can put it in your pocket, and if you're wearing it, that'll be invisible. That doesn't mean you can, pick up an object that's bigger than you and that becomes invisible. But, let's say if it's small enough to fit in your pocket, and you're wearing clothing, the clothing will turn invisible. We'll say within your sort of, we could say within your auric field, or the layers of energy around the body. I don't know. Some people would say I'm already altering the nature of our deal. Jasmine says definitely fly. It's a smart choice. I mean, really, 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 really smart choice. I gotta be real. You could, John Kins, we could steal a plane. April says we could lock Hillary up. I'm going to be real. I shouldn't say this. Some people won't like me for saying this. I don't think I'll just say it. I don't believe that the majority of these people that we perceive as being the villains of the world will ever be locked up. And I know that's not a thing that people want to hear. They don't want to believe that's the way it happens. And I'm not saying it's her. I'm not saying it's this person. I just deeply question the idea that they will be brought to justice through the manner in which we believe they should. I think for a lot of these people, the justice or the retribution for the choices they've chosen to make in this life, especially on those levels, is going to come after this, which I know is a cheap cop-out for some people. But I guess, to be honest with you, I just don't see a timeline currently where, there's going to be mass arrests and all of a sudden all the bad people are gone. I just don't see it. And I pray to God that I'm wrong, because that would be really cool and exciting. I think we'll have other events and other things, and there's going to be chosen sacrificial lambs within those power structures that are going to be chosen specifically to be, the one that'll be a scapegoat, or to do this or that, or, kind of like the whole Epstein thing. You think and I know we all know this, there's many, many, many more islands. That was the first one that we were all made aware of. And, anyway, we will moderate our use of questionable keywords. You know what I mean? But anyway, totally. We got some more people. A lot of people want to fly. AD wants to fly. Quantum Nikki, what's going on? Maria Frank wants to fly. Okay, good. So you guys are making smart choices. What's up, White Swan? She says being invisible feels creepy. It's okay. You're going to be naturally spying when you're invisible. You got to understand that's the choice you're going to make, and there's no shame in that. So, it depends on what you're spying on. Maybe you'll be spying on the right things. But anyway, let's see. Anybody else with choices? Janie Rand says flying. That's smart. That's smart. You guys are making good choices with your superpowers. But I will say, I'm definitely going to be invisible. Why? Because we're going to Area 51, bro, for real, right? Think about it. Think about it. We get a squad of invisible humans, and we can all you just walk right in there, you know what I mean? But how do you know they don't have thermal, right? What if they have thermal? Does the invisibility make you invisible to thermal? Likewise, we could say for those of you guys that are flying, what happens if you try to fly around the world? Because if you fly around the world at regular, altitude, it's going to take way longer than if you rise up into the atmosphere. But you rise up into the atmosphere, you're going to freeze, right? So are there certain concessions that get made? Am I grossly overanalyzing this? Yes. Anyway, sorry, guys. We're going to go back to readings. Anyway, thanks for playing along, you guys. Lori Stewart gets it. Invisible, definitely. Selena says, would your camera go invisible? I don't know. You know what? See, there's so many questions. There's so many questions about it, right? All these other details, right? Like, what if you try to fly and you're carrying a bunch of weight? Will you still be able to? You know what I mean? Is there a max limit? Can you, right? I mean, think about it. Anyway, I'm just chopping this thing up into oblivion, you guys. So we're gonna go back to readings. And so it's really far up in the chat now. For those of you that are still here hanging out with us, let's return to the reading timeline. Throw your name in the chat if you want to get a reading. I'm gonna scroll up and find some people that already asked, but just so we don't have to keep backtracking through the chat. You can click the like button. That'll help us tremendously. You could also subscribe if you're just hanging out randomly. Help us get past 6.8 thousand subscribers. Not that it's a popularity game, because no one really cares. It's just a personal thing at this point. I'm like, why is the AI not allowing us to move past that? It's very strange. And so you can definitely help us by subscribing to this channel. There we go. I saw somebody roll in there. It's Maria Frank. What's going on, Maria? She says, I'd love a reading. Yes. For Maria Frank, you can take a slow breath in. Here we go. We're going to see it together. For those of you guiding Maria Frank, in 3, 2, 1, and boom. Maria Frank, you have received an 8 of Cups, which, I'll be real, for some people out there, the 8 of Cups is not necessarily going to be a good time. And, maybe you've been going through this a little bit in your own right. Maybe not. You know what I mean? So that's why I say take it with a grain of salt. But when an 8 of Cups is in a person's life, you might have been more occupied, more focused upon certain things that you have perceived to have been missing from your life. Maybe opportunities that you didn't get, things that were left undone. Maybe sometimes it was the one that got away, or a certain choice that we could have made that, what if I would have done this? Maybe if we would have done that. What if it was this person? What if back in those days I did this? Or what would my life have been like if I would have gone this direction or that direction? The 8 of Cups could show up in a person's life in a time in which they might be reflecting like that. And it's not always a crisis, but it's not always a fun thing either. I mean, I got to be real. Most people, when they're in an 8 of Cups, you're going to be more focused on what you think you don't have, rather than what it is that that you do have, because people will eventually, let's say you receive this card, and you guys can do it and just count the cups, and you count them and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, all 8 cups are there. So is anything really missing from your current world right now? Or is it that we perceive it as being missing? Is it that there's a rearrangement that can take place in our life in terms of your outlook? And it's very much about outlook. When an 8 of Cups comes into your world, it's an emotional outlook. And sometimes it's an emotional outlook that people could maintain for years. It never kills you. It doesn't lead you into great misery. You will just always find yourself wandering back in your heart and your mind to what could have been, or what wasn't, finished, or, like I said, the one that got away, or this or that, when the whole idea is they're saying, look, if you make a few rearrangements in the now moment, if you reconfigure your current emotional and possibly physical environment, you're going to be perceiving your reality a lot differently. It brings us back into the here and now, because you're going to find some people stay in this for years, literally for years. And I know everybody's had a friend where it's like you will go to see them or hang out with them, or a family member, and they inevitably start talking about this old thing from the old days, and you're like, yeah, I know, yeah, that didn't happen, I know, if only you could have got that, if only that, yep. And it's kind of like, it's played out now, right? It's like, I know, I get it, if only you could have done this. It's like, that's where Eight of Cups will show up in a person's life when it's deeply set in your world. It's like, maybe someone else will observe you doing that, where it's like you'll be continually lamenting the opportunities and the choices that you perceive having not been made. And what Spirit is saying is, no, 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 forget about it, dude. Rearrange everything in front of you right now. And I promise you, you're going to perceive your current, whatever you think is gone, much differently. And so I'm grossly over delivering that card. But anyway, thank you. Thank you, Maria Frank. I pray that energy finds you well. And yeah, I appreciate it. I'm going to grab a random person. What's up? Something Clever. That's a good screen name. There you go. May I have a reading, please? Thank you. Yes. You are in the right place at the right time. You do have what we might call a wisdom channel, if you want to get weird and bizarre and often a strange deep end of the pool, something clever. If you're wondering, okay, wow, that's a fun term. What does it mean? It's just a fun term that I made up to describe when a person has a strand, or what we might call a frequency of energy available to you that it can kick in right now at this stage of your life. It could have already kicked in. It might kick in later. But it comes with secret talents. It comes sometimes with hidden abilities. Every now and then it comes with an expertise or a skill in your life that you did not know you had. It'll show up at different times in different places, and you won't have to learn. No one will teach you about a certain thing. You'll just start doing it. You'll be like, oh, hey, I've been thinking about this or that lately, and I feel really interested in it. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm just going to check it out. And you'll do it. And whatever it is, you'll just instantly go like, oh, I know. And it's like something will click. And so I don't know where that is in your life. It could be a big way. It could be a little way. It's just a thing that sometimes I'll connect with people, and it's like you can tell they have like the certain, it's an area, a wavelength of energy that stems from the back of the head. A lot of you guys have heard me say like a lot of chakra names over and over again over the years, and I'll mention this one or that one. But it's one of the functions of what some people call the Bindu chakra, which is one of the secondary chakras that extends out of the back of the head. And it's just one of the portals that's open. Everyone has it. Some people open it early on. Some people open it later. Some people get it at different stages. There's a host of many different types. I don't pretend to know very much about it. It's just a thing that I've learned to spot over the years. But it's just like a pipeline that'll be open to like energy that's still yours from other lives. And just things are going to come in, and you'll go, oh, I know what to do with that. And it doesn't mean you're going to stay with it. Sometimes it's just for a time, like a time period. You'll get really into a certain thing. You'll realize in 2024 suddenly that you're really good at this or that, and you'll be, and then it might pass, but it's a cool thing to have. Anyway, sorry, something clever. I think I probably just over verbalize that. Here's a card for you. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Oh my God. Whoa, that's a fun confirmation. You got a 3 of Pentacles. So I was just talking about wisdom channel and ability and skills that'll resurface, and you won't have to learn it. And then you received a 3 of Pentacles. And so it's It's related from the perspective that when you have this energy in your life, you are in an upgrade stage. And it's not a massive upgrade. It's not something that everyone in the world will notice, but it is one of those things where I know you've probably had this something clever, and everyone else, maybe you've had this moment, maybe you haven't, but someone will look at you and go, "Did you cut your hair? Did you lose weight? You must have lost weight, right? You look different. You look, huh? What are you doing?" And maybe you didn't really do anything, you know what I mean? But you're like, "Oh, what? Oh, okay, thanks." And so the 3 of Pentacles will come into your life in times like that to give you an incremental upgrade in a certain area of your life where it'll basically reward you for work that you've done. And like I said, not in an explosive, massive way. It can be a very incremental one, but it's a very good thing to get. And so congratulate yourself and just pay attention in the coming months into which way your interests go, because you might have a whole new thing coming in. And anyway, thank you, something clever. Thanks for hanging out. What's up, Welcome Healing? How's it going? I see you over there. Can you pull a card for me? Any specific advice from my guides in finding a spiritual community locally? Been working on manifesting, but to no avail. What do we need to know about a spiritual community for Welcome Healing? What sort of changes or what needs to be made? And get ready, guys. I'm gonna awkwardly wipe my nose with this tissue on our live stream here, because it's a thing that we do. I think Liz White Swan was in the house. She knows exactly how it goes. So this is for Welcome Healing. What do we need to know about this? Finding a spiritual community, connecting with a tribe, finding the right people. For those of you guiding Welcome Healing, we just ask for anything that can be known, anything that can be shown about that area of her life. 3, 2, 1, boom. Whoa, this is a good, okay, here's the thing. Welcome Healing, this is a very good omen. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not a direction list of like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do this and you're going to that. And then you're going to go here and you're going to go there. It's not that type of an answer, but it is incredible, incredible answer if you are looking for the energies of togetherness, the energies of family, the energies of building relationship, the energies of emotional healing, the energies, biggest of all, of the inner child and reconnecting with those elements. This is a very, very powerful omen. And so this is the 6 of Cups. For anyone that is pulling cards for yourself and you keep pulling a lot of 6s, because sometimes you'll notice certain cards will keep coming back. They keep showing up. All of the 6s in multidimensional tarot are benevolent go-ahead numbers. They authorize you to take an action or to make a decision or to do a thing or to receive something. And in the case of 6 of Cups, it is about an offer, about making an offer, about receiving an offer, about receiving what Spirit is trying to give us. It's about knowing when to offer ourselves and to whom. And honestly, it's a beautiful thing to have. What it won't tell you, Welcome Healing, is how to connect with that tribe or those people within a spiritual community, other than to welcome, embrace, to offer freely from the inner child, to connect with that version of ourselves, and to know that an approval has been granted overall. It doesn't mean that other people will accept the offers we are being given. And it also doesn't mean that you will have to accept what the world is offering you. But in my opinion, it's a really, really, really good omen. And so I pulled another card for you while I was ranting in the background. And I'll be real. It's not that it specifically answers the question either, but it's a very good thing to get. You also have a 2 of Wands. And so we could say this answers the question in terms of how. It doesn't, like I said, once again, doesn't give us a list of directions on specificity. But when you have a 2 of Wands in your life, and this is for anyone else who's about to make a decision, because this is often a card that'll show up in your life when you need to make a decision. and you won't necessarily know how to make a decision. Like I said, all the sixes are offers. They're benevolent, approving numbers, not explosive, but good. They're good to get. They're good omens. All the twos are going to be crossroads of sorts. They're going to be this way or that way, this one, that, whatever it is. The Two of Wands will show up in your life, welcome healing. And let's say we're asking, okay, how might we manifest it? We know that spirit gives approval. We know that there's a benevolent, energy for that. And so the Two of Wands comes in and says, well, we gave you the power. It's up to you. If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. If you want to, kick something off, if you want to have a community, Two of Wands says, well, yeah, you could do that. Yes, directly. Hell yes, even. Go ahead and start one. That's the hard part, right? Because it's like, oh, well, that's so easy to say, right? Yeah, I'll just start it. But the Two of Wands will come into your life to say, by the way, we've given you complete power, authority, control, and dominion over your physical timeline. If something's not happening for a person and a Two of Wands comes in, it's not because it's not possible. It's because we will have to make a decision on a destination. Because look at what you're doing here. You're looking at the world. You got the world in your hand. You're holding your wand. So that's your will, your power, the momentum, physicality, fire, desire. And you're holding this globe in your hand. So that's spirit saying, look, we gave you the world. Where are you going to go? Some people sit with this power for decades and nothing happens. And I'm not saying that's you, welcome healing. I'm just kind of giving you all the pieces of Two of Wands, because I would say what I feel for you, and I try to be very specific when it's like it's a thing that you can see or feel, or you can tell that it's a possibility for a person. And then sometimes it's an opinion, right? And I like to be very specific when it's an opinion versus what I believe and feel from your energy. It does feel like you have a move that is available and approaching you. It might be to a certain area or to a place. It might be a temporary thing where if you truly, truly want to devote yourself to living within community of like-minded souls, when we see this, they're saying it's possible. When I feel into your energy, it's possible. But there's some sort of an initiative that you'll have to take. And so anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying you can totally find it. The power is within you. Maybe you'll create it. Anyway, I'm just ranting at you, welcome healing. I pray that it helps, and I pray that you have absolute faith in yourself. If there's one thing we know about the tribe of people that gather around this channel, even if it's for a momentary purpose, even if, and I always say this, even if it's one of the people that will always hang out in the background, you know how there's always like one or two haters? It's not that they leave you negative energy. They'll just sit in the back and they're like, I do that at times. I'm not immune from it. You'll watch someone sing and you're like, what's up with that guy? Even for those people, if you're one of the people that finds this broadcast, it is usually because you're in a stage of activation or understanding or receiving or putting to use whatever those abilities you have are. And so for some of us, it's going to be about, maybe creating a community. For some of us, it's going to be about a private practice. For some of us, it's going to be about an intuitive practice. Everyone has a certain timeline of what I would call professional offering within the multidimensional community. And sometimes as we step more fully into that, life will go in crazy directions. Other people will, go on this sort of tour throughout the country, seeking a new home. And who knows, maybe you're already doing all those things. I think you probably are in your own right. And I'm just kind of ranting. Anyway, thank you. Welcome healing. Good to see you. Let's get somebody else. Boom. What's up? Unscripted liberation codes in the house. What's happening? Guys, please subscribe to Unscripted Liberation Codes for some really good astrological intel. Seriously, though, dude, seriously, really, 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 please subscribe to Unscripted Liberation Codes. And in the meantime, we got Leyland in the house. How's it going? Good to see your face rolling around here at the bottom of the chat. She says, may I request a card reading? for the recent psychic changes I'm experiencing. Yes. And you can take a couple slow breaths. You have remarkable protection, which I think you already know, Layla. And if you don't know it, you should know it. You're very, very, very well protected. Unless you make certain decisions to really put yourself at risk, there's not too much that can get through to you, which to me is a sign of good karma. I think it's a sign of benevolent protectors, beings that you have done much good for and have been assistants to throughout many lifetimes. So a number of them are connecting with you, even in this now moment. When we talk about the subject or just the experience of psychic activation, this will be a little bit of a broken record because you do have an area of the energy body that is very open, very pliable, potentially what we might call unshielded in and of itself, that being the crown. And so just dutiful crown work, keeping it open, learning to open and close it at will, learning to what we might call moderate and, increase, decrease the diameter of the crown chakra is going to be very, very helpful for you. And you can reach out later if you have specific questions. It looks like there's kind of more specific stuff that if you want to ask about, it's definitely there, but I will pull a card for you. I feel like I've said this to you before, Leyland, and if it looks like I'm glitching out, it's because you're a very, very open psychic book, and I want to say thank you for opening up your energy. I've said this to a couple of other people lately. Maybe I've said it to you. You do have an Akashic Records frequency available to you. Um, Which sounds dumb, but it's like the smell of a library. I know that sounds crazy to some of you guys. You're going to pick it up. It's very, very easily perceived in certain people's energy when they go through cycles of psychic activation. It's like there's places on the energy body that will open up, kind of like the Bindu chakra that we were talking about earlier, that just in and of itself is going to open the door to all kinds of other stuff. But then there's other things, like we were talking about, like a wisdom channel for another person that was here earlier, where it's like you'll have this little tendril or a little pipeline of energy that'll come in that will kind of give you a dose of knowledge or expertise in certain places in your life. And then other people will have certain areas of the brain that will kind of light up, that will also connect to certain strands or kind of pick up wavelengths, kind of like a radio transmitter. And it feels like one of your skills is probably Akashic Records reading as well. But anyway, I guess the reason why I'm saying you can let me know if there's other questions on that is because it feels like you have more specifics, and I might be wrong, so that could be disjointed, but I'll pull a card for you and then we'll move on. I see Selena in the chat saying, I'm having a lot of psychic changes too. You definitely are, you guys. And I say this for everybody, literally every single person that is watching this show, even if it is not live. And even if just for some reason right now is the moment that you tuned in, you are living in a year on planet Earth in which psychic activation is happening organically. It's going on. Some people will say whether you like it or not, and yes, that's true. And I think it's also being greatly, greatly limited and hijacked and toxified within the body. So for some people, they won't even know it's happening. But for other people that will find this channel, they will come to understand how much they've changed over the past few months, how much they've changed over the past few years, how their interests have changed, how their sensitivities have changed, how their dreams have changed, how the feelings they get around people and with people and the images and all sorts of things will have changed. And for some people, they'll chalk that up to, well, I don't know, I think I'm just, depressed, or I have a lot of anxiety, or, some lame shit. And for other people, they'll start to look at it and they'll realize, well, something's really changing. Something is literally changing within us. And so anyway, I'm just ranting, Leyland. I'm sorry. But you and probably Selena and everybody else that's here is definitely experiencing that. I'm dwelling on you a lot. So this is for everybody else. But you also have a Queen of Cups. So if you want to get technical, there's something you know right now. There's a wavelength of information or knowledge that has reached you that you're correct about. You're correct. Why? Why do we say that? Queen of Cups, you guys, she knows shit. She just knows things are going to happen in this world. And Queen of Cups is going to sit there in the back and she's going to go. And she'll just stay quiet. She won't say anything. She'll just sit in the back like, you know, just watching, just peering in the background like, I knew it. I knew that was going to happen. That's Queen of Cups. She will be right. The problem is, unless Queen of Cups learns to share what is within her cup, she will be influenced by it forevermore. That's the only problem. Well, there's other problems. If you want to get technical, there's other problems. But for the sake of right now, you're going to know something and you got to start sharing it. Because if you don't, it's like it could make you crazy. It won't kill you. But anyway, I'm just ranting at you, Layla. I'm sorry. Thank you for hanging out. April Jones says she got passed up. What? A lot of people get passed up. Unfortunately, it's not everyone gets a reading. It's as many as I can see. But you are in the right place at the right time. I see Andromedan's getting spicy as well. Andromedan says, stupid planet or whatever. Thank you. It's okay. I see you. We're going to do you know what? We're going to do a reading for you guys. We're going to do one for April and then we're going to do one for Andromedan. Why? Because White Swan says Andromedan's acting up. Okay. Well, all right. You're acting up over there. But in the meantime, April Jones says, may I have a message from my passed over guide too? Oh, you mean your family member? Sorry. I thought you meant you got passed over for readings. I took it in a weird direction. I'll tell you what we will do. We're going to pull a card for you, and we're going to ask that if there are any family members, ancestors, guides, guardians, or versions of self currently connecting with April, that you just make yourself known in your own way, in her body, in her life, within the mind's eye. All those of you that are connecting with her and that are just guiding you in this human journey, guiding her rather, we just ask that you step forward and you're going to get some images in your mind's eye. You'll feel like you're making it up. It might be a family member. Sometimes it's something weird like an animal. Every now and then it's a ET. Honor what arises. We'll pull a card. So can we have any messages for April? 3, 2, 1, boom. April Jones. Nice. You got an Emperor, which I should be real. Emperor is a really good thing to get. We had a Empress earlier for someone else. The Emperor, though, he's very, very similar. If you're wondering right now, like, what is my kind of like one of the main pieces of my current mission? Not the only, not the be all end all, but you're like, guys, is there a thing that I should be kind of putting a lot of energy into and focusing on? Yes, there is. And this is not the only one. But when you have an Emperor, it's going to be on taking full ownership over who you are. The best version of yourself, the most knowledge. It's going to be done by you realizing, April Jones, that every decision, every choice, every trauma, every triumph in this human journey has led you to this literal right now moment, to the Emperor rolling in your door with the message of, you're going to take full ownership over what you truly are. You're going to start flexing your power. And if you feel weird about flexing power, if you feel weird about being in control, if you feel weird about being one of the people in this world that calls the shots, and maybe you're just calling shots for yourself, doesn't have to be for everyone else, although we know the Emperor is calling shots for everybody. If you're a person that feels uncomfortable with commanding, with being in control, with being in full ownership, with being also the one that pays for the party and takes responsibility for it all. If you're uncomfortable with those things, it could be very hard, but if you're willing to become comfortable with them, the Emperor is a force of energy that will come into your life and it will guide you somewhat like a father. Why do we say father? Because this is the energy of your father. And I know some people have problematic fathers out there. We all have a different relationship with our own father. Some of us didn't even know them. It's irrelevant whether you did or you didn't, good dad, bad dad, doesn't who cares? What the energy of this is the energy of ancestral father, the true father, the masculine source energy within you. And at times it can be cumbersome and controlling and demanding. And at other times it can be reinventing and recreating and like redefining things in a really cool way. So for some people, an Empress can come in at the beginning of your year. And this could be a year, April Jones, where you are going to feel powerful and connected and in control of things that you have not been in control of in your year, in your world up until this point. And that's for everybody else. Let's say if you do a reading with yourself later or tomorrow or earlier, whatever it is, and you keep pulling the Emperor is going to come in and he's going to redefine your relationships with those things. And when you do it right, you're going to have an era or a time period, whether it's a week or a whole year, where you're going to be like, you know what? Okay, I am in control of this. And it's not to say we're always in control. It's not permanent because these are cycles. But the way you're going to get there is you're going to be healing your relationship with masculinity. You're going to be improving your relationship with masculinity. You're going to be, in some cases, healing our relationship with our masculine ancestry. Because this is both the good father and the bad father all together at the same time. But for some people that get it will be like, well, how does that apply to me as a feminine being? It's going to be your relationship with those things and also those pieces of you. And so anyway, April Jones, I'm just going on and on, but this is it's a powerful beginning of your year. Connect with some masculine energies. I think it'll do you good in, whatever way you feel called. But anyway, after that, as I recall, we were going to do a reading for Andromedan. What's going on, Andromedan? He says, I had the chance to destroy this planet and I missed it. Whoa, you know what? Hold on. I'm glad you didn't destroy this planet. I'm serious. I mean, look, let's be real. There's likelihood that if you did destroy it, we would have all probably been transferred to another planet and, maybe we'd be doing this on, Earth 2.0 or, Earth in another galaxy. Who knows? So I'm grateful you didn't destroy it. I'm grateful you didn't destroy the planet, but let's do a reading for you. This is going to be for the Andromedan out there. Thanks for being a little bit of spicy, saucy, annoyed energy in here, Andromedan. I mean that humorously, by the way. It's okay. Oh, there's your question. I found it. Boom. Hi, Matthew. I've been wanting to ask if my exit point is near. I'm going to be real. I'm going to jump in on that one instantly. I don't feel that is a current factor for you. I feel that when it comes to exit points, and by exit points, what do we mean, you guys? We're talking about stages in which our consciousness might leave this world. Some people could call it a death. Some people out there talk about how when we come into this human life, we have something like, 4, not that it's about 4, but I've heard this number thrown around. They say, well, you have 4 predetermined exit points in your human journey. That means there's 4 times in your human life where, something's going to happen and you could make a choice to leave this world or stay. I'll be real. There could be way more than 4. There could be 1. I would say just based upon the way your energy presents and what I've seen of you online and just hanging out amongst this community, I don't feel your exit point from this physical body is currently near. But likewise, I could be wrong. You know what I mean? And if we're living in a world of infinite timelines, it could very well be. I'll tell you what, I'll bet if you would have destroyed the world, then your exit point would have been very near. This would have been the point where they're like, wait a minute, that's that dude that destroyed the other Earth. What the hell? Anyway, sorry, I'm being both serious and facetious at the same time. But in all serious, Andromedan, I'm going to pull a card for you. What do we need to know for Andromedan today? 3, 2, 1, and boom. Andromedan, you ask about exit points and you get a tower. My God, if a tower is not an exit point, I don't know what is, but let's give the whole picture of this, because I want to answer this question definitively for you. A tower is not necessarily an exit point. A tower is a notice in your life that an idea, a behavior, a situation, a project, a relationship, you could put any word in that blank space, it's not really coming together. It's not really working out. It could be a momentary thing. It could be a chapter of your life. If you feel as though one is in an exit point stage and a tower comes in, that's not spirit saying, hey, guess what, bro? Sorry, it's over. Nope. The tower doesn't come in after it already falls. The tower comes into your life to say, hey, look, if you make some modifications right now, or let's say if you completely tear down your erroneous beliefs, if you completely deconstruct what you think is happening in the current moment and what it is you're trying to build, if you're willing to rip that thing down right now, you're going to build another one on way more firm ground in a much better place with a much deeper understanding, lots of foundation around it. But if you do keep going at the state that you're in right now, there's a very good chance something is going to collapse. Not a physical exit point from this life, but something could collapse. And so I would say, honestly, it's more collapse of your belief systems. And I would also say it's going to lead you toward generating new emotional regulation techniques, meaning all the frustration that you go through on a daily basis will eventually lead you toward developing some kind of strength to overcome it and to deal with it. And anyway, I'm just ranting at you, Andromedan, but you got a tower. Don't worry about it. Reconstruct your belief systems. I guess the tower is also one of those moments where, like, you must unlearn what you have learned. Because you will. It's like you kind of have to with the tower, you guys. Tower comes in and it's like it comes in before it falls. I mean, literally, look at it. Yes, it's kind of on fire right now. Well, yeah, I guess there are people coming out of it. Okay. So, it's not in that good of condition, which is why you're going to be tearing down some belief systems and revising your understandings of what you believe is true and possible for you. And so, anyway, it's a useful warning to get, because some people will rebuild something in their life right when a tower comes in. They'll begin to rebuild something, and a certain problem that they've been dealing with over and over and over and over again, they'll completely rebuild. And it's crazy because when a tower comes into your life, let's say this is outside of Andromedan's question, because I know that was on a different subject, but let's say a tower really comes into your life and you're able to see it and you're like, damn, that's that tower. That's what they're trying to tell me. Shit. All right. Sometimes the best thing you'll do is you'll go in there and you'll tear it down. You will literally destroy it, rip it up, tear the whole thing apart. And that's where the beauty comes in, because only by doing so will you be able to create an entirely new outcome. And so towers are never death sentences. Towers are not mandatory disaster, because smart people are like, oh, you're telling me it's about to fall. Okay, cool. We'll just tear the whole thing down, start all over again. And so if you're willing to generate that in your life, like kind of, I think somebody said it. Where was it? Somebody said it. There it was. April Jones. It's a rebirth. It can definitely bring a rebirth. But I would say, I guess I'm going into weird tarot theory. Sorry, guys. Less of a rebirth, more of a rebuilding. Because rebirth cards, like let's say Judgment is a rebirth card. Judgment shows up in your reading and it's like, guess what? That's going to happen. Get ready. And you're like, what? No, trial by fire. For those of you guys that are familiar with Judgment, the tower will come in and it's like, you don't get rebirthed. You'll tear it down and you'll put it back together brick by brick, which is cool because it's going to be you doing it and it'll generate new strength. And anyway, I'm probably going far too deep into obscure tarot theory. So we're gonna do one more reading, maybe two. Who else is here? I'm just going to go wildly scrolling through looking for a question. If you're a member of this channel and you have not received a reading, hurry up and tell me so I can give you a reading. Boom. I'm just scrolling through the chat. I'm going to go down to the bottom. Laureen Renee says redo. She wants a redo. Laureen, I don't know. For some reason, I just see. So we're gonna do one for Laureen Renee. Oh, we got Dawn Vibrations. Okay, so we got a few more people. I don't know why you stuck out for the moment, but we're gonna pull a card for Laureen Renee. Let me see if I see you guys down there in the bottom. Let's do kind of a speed round. Here we go. Really quick. 3, 2, 1. This is for Laureen Renee. Here we go. Boom. Whoa. Okay. Laureen Renee, as you begin this new chapter of 2024, there is going to come some closure in a certain area of your life. In a lot of cases, the 10 of Pentacles has to do with generational closure, family changeovers, immediate family, the outer constellation of your larger family, even your soul family. A 10 of Pentacles will come into your life, and there's going to be a transitional generational changeover in some area of your life. We might even say you're going to walk through a doorway, and when you come back through that doorway, you're not going to be the same version of yourself. That's because whatever ends with a 10 of Pentacles, somebody wins. Everybody benefits from it. In some cases, it's something like an inheritance. In other cases, it's something like new knowledge or new ability or new freedoms come into one's life, but it's things that are gifts of a generation, gifts of a lineage, gifts of a family, sometimes gifts of a tribe. And if you're willing to go on a quest, if you're willing to generate closure, if you're willing to, like I said, walk through a door with knowledge that you might not come back in the same version of yourself, this could be a really good, positive, I would call it a benevolent and abundant ending in your life. And so, and I see you're saying that your uncle died. I'm so sorry for your loss. I mean that very, very sincerely. And so it's kind of a cool thing to see, even though it can be a difficult thing for us, because a 10 of Pentacles will come in and you can see this is a whole family all together. And so I see your comment down there. Even if you weren't close, there is a family generational changeover that's occurring. Look, there's the older generation, there's the younger generation, and there's a switch or a change or a handing off that will occur in some way. And sometimes it's huge, sometimes it's, smaller, but it's a stage of your life where if you're willing to elicit closure and change, everybody benefits. And there's 4 endings in the world of tarot. Okay, you guys, 4 endings. There's the 10 of Pentacles where everybody benefits, everybody wins something, everybody gets a little something. Sometimes they get a lot. There's the happy ending, which is the 10 of Cups, which is very emotionally benevolent and happy. Then there's a very difficult ending with the 10 of Swords, which is honestly where you get completely defeated. It's not a good ending. It's a very, very hard one. And then there's the 10 of Wands, which is the neutral ending. That's where it's up to you. We just know something's ending and you're moving on. And anyway, that's a whole other conversation. So there was a couple other people we were going to grab as well. Where did they go? It was Dawn Vibrations. I know you remember. Thanks. Thanks, Dawn Vibrations. For those of you assisting Dawn Vibrations, we're just looking for anything that needs to be known or seen or heard or received. Dawn Vibrations. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Whoa, that's new. We haven't seen too many Pentacle characters. So I guess we just saw 10 of Pentacles, but so I guess we did see Pentacle characters, Dawn Vibrations. But anyway, you got a King of Pentacles. So this could be a season as we start the year where beautifying the home, making your physical environment more comfortable, generating new routines. This energy is strong in its routines, but it's also trapped by its routines. And so when you have a King of Pentacles, you're going to be reevaluating the routines. And some people with King of Pentacles are stuck in a chapter of life where they do this thing on this day and this day at that time, and on this time we do this, and it's very strong, but you'll need to change those things, especially when you're in a new yearly cycle and a King of Pentacles comes in. You're going to change your routines, you're going to make modifications to your routines, you're going to beautify your physical environment. You may be rearranging the rooms in your house, or you might be especially rearranging the room that you spend the most time in, because it'll force you to look at things a little bit differently. It's very much about manifestation. I would say just for the areas of the energy body you're going to be working on, you're going to be working on root chakra. So you're going to be very carefully monitoring how you're receiving energy from the world. You're carefully noticing what the world is offering you, what people are trying to give you. You're not closing off yourself to what the world is giving you. You're staying very open to it. Because root chakra energy is very important. And for some people that have been in our tarot class, they know that each of the suits in multidimensional tarot, like pentacles, swords, cups, what's the other one? Wands. Damn. Wands. They all have an kind of a certain thing they have to do, and they have an element. And pentacles is the element of earth. And kind of one of the things that Pentacles has to overcome is they must learn how to receive. Pentacles have to receive. And so you got to just be mindful of what you're receiving from the world. When you play it right with the King of Pentacles, you'll be rolling. And by rolling, I mean you'll have a time in your life, and it's an 8-year. So this is a time for abundance. I would like to say, and maybe this is just a wishful thinking statement, but with a King of Pentacles and in an 8-year, if you play your cards right, you're going to have way more money this year. And I know money's not the thing for everyone. Some people have it and they're like, I don't care. I have money. I don't need more. That's, some people out there are like that. I've had people that book readings with me and they're like, yeah, I don't care about money. I'm not here for money. Literally, people come in, they're like, I can have anything I want in this world. I don't care about money. So for some people, it's not about that, but you're going to be getting a lot of something. So be sure that you're ready to receive it. Okay. I hope that helps. We're on a speed round, so I'm going to go to the next person. We're doing rapid reading processes. Indigo, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We're going to pull a card for you. Take a couple deep breaths with me, everyone who's still hanging out after 2.5 hours. It'll be just as much for me as it is for you. Thank you. For those of you guiding Indigo 1111, we're just looking for anything that needs to be known or acknowledged at the beginning of 2024. In 3, 2, 1, and boom. Whoa, it's back. It's the devil. Okay, Indigo 1111, don't get freaked out, because you might not be familiar with tarot, or maybe you are familiar with tarot, but this is really important. So don't get freaked out. Whenever the devil comes in, I'm going to say it again for everyone who doesn't know. When the devil comes into your readings, you guys, it has nothing to do with Satan. It has nothing to do with demonic energies. It has nothing to do with negative entities. It's us. It's you, and it's your shadow self. And so if you're looking for a message and the devil comes into your life, it's usually spirit saying, look, there's a really good chance that you might be doing something right now that's directly holding you back from something that you're trying to achieve. And if you want to get really technical, you guys, we could probably say that about anyone, right? Everyone. You, me, all of us. Yeah, sure. I'm probably doing something to hold myself back. Of course, we all are, right? But let's be more specific. The devil tells you that in a very specific way. And when it comes to kind of layers of disconnection that might come alongside the devil card, this is why it's good, okay? The reason why it's good is not because of what it does in your life, because it comes in and you're going to be playing shadow games with yourself. You're going to be doing things to self-sabotage. You're going to be keeping yourself very limited. Who knows? You might have addictions. You might have very negative behaviors. I'm not defining you as such. I'm just giving you all the possibilities that come in with it. So the devil will come in. And why is that useful? It's useful because it's spirit telling you, look, dude, you are your only main problem right now. And if you're able to, this is the important part, change self-talk. Connect with yourself internally, within the mind, within the heart, in a different way. When you do that differently, the devil can actually turn into an asset and it can help you move forward. And so let's say for the interest of moving into a year like 2024, we would say the devil is useful because he's saying right now, your greatest enemy is you. There's nothing else targeting us. There's nothing else holding us back other than us with the devil. So if you're willing to push forward in a certain area of your life, and most importantly, defeat negative self-talk, this will move into something entirely new. In fact, you'll end up receiving something that you were never able to receive up until this point of your life. It'll be one of those things where you're like, oh my God, I never thought I would be able to do that. I never actually thought I could actually, oh my God, and I'm finally doing it. That will come as the result of redefining and healing the devil energy in your life. You'll propel yourself forward in a way that only you can do because you are the one holding yourself back. And so, it's a weird one. It's a weird one, but also very, very powerful. And so anyway, thanks, Indigo. You might be like, what? I don't want a devil card. What? Don't worry. Don't worry. They're not all bad. Sometimes when the devil's the least of your worries, it's not the worst. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not the only problem. Anyway. This is for Kim Russell. What's going on, Kim? Good to see you. I'm going to pull a card for you. We're in a speed round. And then, oh, I saw a super chat come in. Okay, guys, no more super chats. Those are going to be the only other ones. And then we're going to roll out of here in a little bit. We're going to keep it around 3 hours. And so, which is the fatal time period for getting our channel recommended. So anyway, you guys are going to be sharing this video so more people will find it. In the meantime, this is for Kim Russell in 3, 2, 1, and boom. Whoa. Well. Kim Russell, congratulations. You got the Hermit. Man. Okay, so the big question is, Kim Russell, in what areas of your life are you going it alone this year, or right now, or in general? And why do I even say that? Because the Hermit is a stage where you're going to be going it alone. You're going to be going internally, deep into your internal world, to deprogram, to discover, to find, sometimes to defeat, sometimes to realize, sometimes to heal. You know, who knows, whatever it is. The Hermit is the internal journey. Yes, it can feel like a dark night of the soul. When it shows up at the beginning of the year, it's telling you the answers you seek right now are deeply within yourself. And so, you know, it depends on what the question is, clearly, but the Hermit is going to be going on a little bit of a solo journey to discover something about him or herself. And I think at a time like this, in my opinion, Kim Russell, it's a beautiful thing to have, to start out a year with a Hermit, because they'll usually bring you into some old wound or some old cycle or some old difficulty within yourself, specifically because you're needed to overcome or heal that so that you can receive something entirely new in that area. So what you could say is what you could do is you could look at where you've been the most wounded toward 2023. Where were the greatest wounds? What were the most, hardest difficulties? And you'll come into a new cycle with the Hermit. And it's that old saying, like, look, you need answers about this. You need change in this area. You need healing in this area. Cool. Good. The good news is you're equipped to do it yourself. The bad news is the thing you need the most is in the place you least want to look, within yourself. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like we could come to great change and great potential for change, but it's at the cost of like a lot of self-work. And I guess because you and I have talked in the past, Kim, I know you're constantly doing like tons of self-work and always looking at yourself. And so on some level, it's going to be like more of that, and it's like, yes, but I think it's going to be in different areas. And anyway, I think you're gonna have a breakthrough in the year of 2024, and whatever you can identify that's undone from the previous cycle of 2023, those are the areas in which you're going to be pushing forward in a really big way. And so I hope it helps. Thank you. Boom. Okay, so we had another super chat. Where did they go? Okay, here it is. Thank you. LG19, good job. I appreciate you. If you're still doing readings, I'd like one about where I should place my focus and intention on self, relationship, or job at the moment. You know, that's a very good question. I got to say, like, seriously, I want to give you points for having a very well thought out, a very mature, a very realistic question. I think it's a good thing to be asking. And so let's see what shows up. Thanks, everybody. There has been a fair amount of drooling here over the past 2.5 hours, but not as bad as we expected. Okay. For LG19, what are they meant to focus on this year? Self, relationship, or job? Can you please give us a simple symbol of just where are they meant to be placing their energy? 3, 2, 1, and what? Oh my Lord. Okay. You're going to love this. You can probably tell in your own way what it's telling you. So the question is, well, where should I place my focus? Is it going to be on this cup or that cup or that one over there, or I don't know, the one with the dragon on it, or that one up there with the snake? And dude, this is a great answer, LG19, because you got a 7 of Cups, and 7 of Cups is classically indecisive. 7 of Cups has many opportunities, many irons in the fire, many areas of interest. They're all viable. They're all important. Every single one of them is relevant to your current physical world. The problem with 7 of Cups is that, and maybe this is the question you're going to ask yourself when you decide what it is you're going to focus on. The question of 7 of Cups is, which one of those cups do I want the most? Because you just listed 3, and it doesn't matter if there's 7 or 3, but you listed self, relationship, or job. And 7 of Cups is a scenario where Spirit is saying, look, you got all these timelines available to you, all these outcomes, all these projects, all these irons in the fire. You have usually a couple different options. With 7 of Cups, you can either, 1, maintain all of those cups. You can have them all. They're all going to be active. They'll all be viable. And you'll just sip little bits from each one. Meaning, you'll get a little bit of danger, you'll get a little bit of mystery, you'll get a little bit of darkness, you'll get a little bit of luck, you'll get a little bit of love, you'll get, magic, whatever it is, okay? And so you could sip from the cups, or you could devote yourself to one cup at a time and finally go farther than you've ever been in any of those 3 areas, whether it be self, relationship, or job. And so it's both awkward and cool, because it's saying, well, yeah, they're all viable. Good question. They're all viable. The question is, which one is most important to you? And so I would say what I call the operative term for 7 of Cups is prioritization of desire. Prioritization of desire. You have to know, like, well, which one do I want the most? Which one is the most important? And then you will completely immerse yourself in the consuming of whatever that cup brings to you. If you treat it like that, you'll make more progress in certain areas of your life than you have in a really long time. And then it'll also suck, because at the same time, there's going to be things that you were also involved in and you just won't be involved with them anymore, or it won't be as active, or that thing will kind of go away. And yeah, there's a little bit of sacrifice in it, because you have to be willing to go, okay, well, I'm going to put that cup aside for a while. I'm going to put the one with the snake away. Okay, I'll put the snake one away. I'll put the dragon one away. I'm just going to focus on that one. And it'll be cool because a lot of good things will happen. But anyway, I'm going on and on, LG19. This is the season for prioritization of desire. It's critical. Thanks for showing up. Selena says, I quit smoking weed 8 days ago, but it feels like 7,003,000 in 2 days. Well, let me just comment on that. My Lord, Selena. So I had a good long weed break in summer. Actually, yeah, for like over 90 days. I think that was from July into fall. And there was a big period where, maybe there was a few days where there was a little bit, but it was like that energy just completely left my life last year for a while. And I want to say it's a lot harder for those of us that kind of learn to like rely on cannabis in some way. You really feel the absence of it. And it's not like it overtakes you. It's something that, after a few weeks, you can really move on from it really, really easily. But at the start, like the first week, it's just you feel bored and angry, and like it's really interesting the level to which cannabis does affect us. And I'm not anti-weed by any stretch, absolutely not. I started smoking again recently, and I'm already like, I don't know, I don't even know, does this work the same way anymore? But it's when you take a good long break from it, sometimes you'll come back in and you're like, whoa, I feel so slow now. Whoa, I feel so like sedated. And that is a thing, because you're going to notice how much faster your brain is going to be rolling within 3 days, which is too fast at times, right? For some of us. But man, it is quite a journey. And, anyway, I just want to sympathize with you. It's a very hard thing to do. Keep it up. Take a lot of hot showers. One of the things that helped me clear my liver during that like the hardcore no weed stage last year was a thing that White Swan turned me onto, which was black seed oil. And it helped, and I still take it now. And it's hard to try to, quantify how it helped, because I couldn't really understand it, but there was like an edge that was taken off of something. And so I think it helps soothe and lubricate pathways in the liver when we're letting go of toxicity that's built up in the body. And so anyway, hang in there, Selena. Good job. That's a bold move. It's a bold move. Anyway, what's up, Crystal? She was asking for a reading. I don't know if there was a question that came along with that. I appreciate you, though. I certainly appreciate you. So we're going to pull a card for Crystal. And yeah, we'll go from there. This is for Crystal. Thanks for hanging out, Crystal. Thanks for your super chat. Thanks for everybody else that's hanging out as well. I'm going to scroll through your comments in a moment here. I get kind of caught way farther up in the chat. And in the meantime, this is for Crystal. Anything that needs to be known, seen, or honored in the energy of the moment. In 3, 2, 1. Boom. Whoa. Hey, all right. It's about time we got some good news, Crystal. I mean this sincerely, though. I know, sometimes I say it kind of humorously, but congratulations, you got strength. Strength is a beautiful thing to be granted at the beginning of the year. Whatever you're up against right now, Crystal, you can certainly handle it, which is literally what strength says. It says you're strong enough, you're good enough, you can do this. You have enough energy, you have enough willingness, you have enough strength, you can handle it. It doesn't say good, bad, right, or wrong. Just so you know, strength is not an arbiter of morality on any level. But what it's telling you, Crystal, is that you're good enough, you're strong enough, you need to have faith within yourself, because whatever you're going through right now, you seem to be able to handle it. And so I would say just take this as a very powerful and positive omen. Now, you may need to make certain modifications. You might have to balance elements of yourself. Sometimes strength has to balance its animal nature or its higher faculties, its higher decision-making abilities. Because, let's say, even if you are good enough, even if you are strong enough, even if you can handle it, it doesn't care if you're good or evil, right or wrong. It just says you can. And just because we can doesn't always mean we should. And so, there's some, reasoning and, higher stuff that you're going to take into account. But this is a powerful and positive omen to start out the year with. And um, anyway, good job, Crystal. Keep it up. You're doing better than you think you are. You're doing better than you think you are. Oh, cool. White Swan's turning us on to black seed oil. It's very, very It's very helpful. I took it yesterday. I didn't even take it today yet, but I still take it. It's still going. It's still going. Really good for detoxing the liver. Let's see if there's any other questions or anything else here. I hope that makes sense to you, Crystal. Yeah, I hear you, Selena. Totally right. Numbing out on a lot of stuff. It will. That's one of the things about cannabis. For those of us that are opening up multidimensional intuitive abilities, it will both help it and it will also hurt it. And there will come a saturation point with certain energy centers like solar plexus, throat, and third eye. There is what we call I know for some people this is cringe, but it's literally true. There's a non-physical version of tar that builds up over the energy centers. And at times, the energy of cannabis will actually slow down the spin or the rotation of chakras. It doesn't stop the energy from flowing, but it gums it up, kind of like resin in a pipe. It becomes sticky and hard to move. And then it only flows when that substance is, passing through and it's all heated up and it's all worked up. And sometimes it still flows incredibly well in that condition, but over time, especially for intuitive people, you'll kind of numb out. It'll never kill you. It'll just make you get dumb and kind of slow. And then a day will come where you're like, huh, what? And then, and then, yeah, it happened. It doesn't happen to everyone. Some people don't have that effect. I've just noticed that certainly happened for me. So hang in there. It's a weird one. What's up, Bianca Rainbow? You caught my eye. How's it going? From the wilds of Canada. It's probably frozen over there. But I'll be real. Anything lower than 50 degrees Fahrenheit is freezing to me. So for you guys, Bianca, you're probably like, what? Whatever, man. I go swimming when it's 50. For me, I'm like, oh, God, no. So anyway, it's good. It's good to see you again. We'll pull a card for Bianca before we roll out the door. For those of you assisting Bianca out there in the wilds of Canada. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Whoa. All right, Bianca. Congratulations. You got a Queen of Wands, which, as I recall, we haven't had too many wands here today. But maybe I said that about other things as well. So when you have a Queen of Wands in your life, and it's the beginning of the year, and we're wondering like, okay, how should I proceed? How should I behave? What should I do? Spirit, guide me. What's my direction? A Queen of Wands comes into your life, Bianca, and anyone else who needs to receive this. And they say, well, what do? You do whatever the hell you want to do. Whatever burns brightest in your heart. Whatever lights you on fire, whatever keeps, drawing your attention, whatever you look at on your phone first thing in the morning and you can't stop reading about before you go to bed at night, whatever you're obsessed on that you constantly want to consume. That's what the Queen of Wands does. She finds a thing in her world and she fixates upon it and she puts all of her energy into it, and she can do it in a chaotic and manipulative way, because we've all seen that version of it. It gets weird and people are like, oh my God, that's all they care about. Or they could do it in a way where everybody gets involved and they do it out in public and everyone sees it and they're like, oh my God, she's doing that. You know what? That's really cool. I want to I want to do that too. Oh, and they're doing a lot of it, whatever the it is, it doesn't matter. But it's like you will immerse yourself in something. And when the Queen of Wands goes into something, she goes all the way. Queen of Wands is what we call feminized fire. And so feminized fire must create. It creates, but it must burn something. And just like masculinated fire, which burns with destruction, it'll destroy and create. Feminized fire will gather resources from an environment, from a realm, from the selves, the many versions of themselves, and they will birth a creation into this world via what they consume, via what it is that they, are sort of packing into their being and their spirit. And so it's very powerful when you're embracing fire, when you're willing to be determined, and you're unafraid of being seen in public, and you have no shame. And you should know that for this energy, really one of her only toxic traits is shame. Like if she has shame about things in her life, that will block her passion, that will block her creation. So when you have this in your life, you will ask yourself, what am I passionate about right now? Where is my passion? And if I don't have passion, how can I bring it into my life? And it could be any kind of passion. I guess the downside of this is when it's entering your world, and maybe you've already been in this, Bianca, maybe you're entering it, maybe you're leaving it. We're starting a year, so it stands to reason this is an energy that's coming in. You must know that unless you find something to become passionately obsessed with that you'll share with the world and do out in public, and, because this is an energy that whatever people do behind closed doors, she'll do it in public. And you know what? Here's a good example of this, Bianca, because I've seen a lot of your postings on Facebook recently, and how you're talking bold and out in the open about parasites and the weirdness about it. And here's what happens when we purge these energies from the body. And it's like you're talking about things that other people might not necessarily know how to talk about. They're like, oh, well, I could never mention that. Oh my, well, I won't. Queen of Wands doesn't give a fuck. She'll be like, okay, you guys, check it out. Here's what's happening. Here's all this stuff. Here's these events. Here's this passionate thing that I'm involved in. And when she does it right, everyone follows her. But let's say, and I see you in the comment there, what if she can't find that passion? Well, that's where you're going to need to look at what it is you truly want. And that's, I think, maybe one of the questions you'll ask yourself with Queen of Wands, because her mission is what? To do whatever the hell she wants to do. But what if she doesn't know what she want to do? That's where we must stoke the energy of fire, which for some people, if it's not used well, it can become anger, it can become rage, it can become annoyance. But really, you're going to be asking yourself, what do I really want? Am I willing to show it to the world, to involve everybody else in it, to completely remove any layer of shame I have? And we're not assigning that word to you. We're just saying, just in case that's a factor in your life, you will destroy it. Destroy it. Anyway, I'm just going on and on at you, Bianca. And so who knows, maybe you'll be finding a new passion. Maybe this is a year where you're going to find a very new series of interests, because that could definitely happen to Queen of Wands. And the thing is, you have to be willing to go where your heart pulls you. And I always say this with the Wands characters, you guys, when you get a lot of Wands people in your readings, you have to be willing to go toward the brightest fire or the brightest light, or sometimes it's the dumpster fire behind, Walmart, and you're like, oh my God, there's a fire at the dumpster. Dude, Wands characters, they got to go back and look at it. They have to go see it. If they see a burning building, your assignment is to go up to it and go, oh my God, it's burning. What's happening? It doesn't mean you're going to jump in the fire. It just means you're going to go directly toward it. And so anyway, I feel like I'm ranting at you, Bianca. I'm sorry. Thanks for hanging out. I hope that finds you well. Thanks for rolling through. Andromedan says, oh, I thought Andromedan left. He says, hi, Selena. Who was the psychic duck? Oh my God. The psychic duck has made it over to our channel as well. Some of you guys out there know about the psychic duck. I wish we could. I wish we could have the psychic duck on. You never know. Our final reading today is going to be a reading for the collective, you guys. For everyone that's still here, I know a lot of people didn't get chosen. Some people did. Some people came. Some people left. Some people just hang out in the background and like to listen to, whatever's going on. And so before we roll out the door, we're almost at 3 hours. We're going to do one final reading for everybody that is here, for our collective, for this movement forward. What do we need to know? For those of you that are watching this channel, those of you that are guiding the members of this channel, those of you that are assisting us in our human journey as we move into 2024. 3, 2, one, and boom. What? The Tower. Is it all going to come crashing down? Is it all going to fall apart? This is a very wild answer, you guys. Some of you guys are going to be like, what? A reading for the collective, and we receive the Tower, which is fun because we don't know what's going to come out, right? It's like literally spur of the moment. So the Tower comes in. And so what does this mean? If we were to read this energy for the collective, one thing that we would say is that course correction in terms of what it is that we're manifesting, what it is that we're building, what it is that we're creating right now is essential. Like we said earlier, some of us are going to be destroying things. Some of us are going to be deconstructing things. One of the things that we saw as soon as 2024 began was a revealing of certain energies. Certain things were coming to light in the public eye, certain, things that we've been looking for a long time. And so I think when we see the Tower coming in at the beginning of the year, what we're going to see is the collapse of control structures, the collapse of understandings, the collapse of certain things that have been built up, things that we've come to understand have been true surrounding the nature of the world, surrounding what we think is happening, surrounding who's controlling such things. And, some might say that with that Tower energy, that is the inevitable decline, the inevitable falling part of what the world has built around us. But then we look at it from an individual perspective and we're like, okay, this is an energy for the collective. So let's apply the Tower internally to each person here. And we might say, what have we been building in our lives right now that is erroneous, that is faulty, that is built on a weak foundation? What have we been trying to construct with ourselves and our energy that is not serving us? Because like we said earlier, the Tower doesn't mean everything's going to fall apart. In some cases, the Tower is saying, hey, you should know. You should know if you change course, if you tear it down, if you rebuild, if you correct things right now, you can avoid a lot of difficulty for yourself and other people. So on a collective level, the Tower comes in to say, okay, be very careful what you're building right now because it's all subject to change. And let's do one more. And what's on the other side of that? We don't know. We'll see. Here it comes. Boom. And on the other side of that might be a period of silence. This is a Four of Swords. And so a Four of Swords will come into your life, and everything that you are fighting over, everything that you were slinging around, everything that you were kind of stabbing out there into the world will suddenly come to a grinding halt. Some people have foreseen or predicted somewhat of a, what we might call predetermined outages, or what we might call infrastructural attacks upon the populace in the year 2024 when it comes to some of the activity that is being planned by, World Economic Forum when they talk about, the possibility that in the coming year there will be a collapse of, internet, a collapse of payment systems. That is something we could see when we see these two energies together. A tower could collapse in our collective world. Sometimes this will be government structures falling apart. Sometimes this will be complete other things falling apart. And after a tower falls, or maybe let's say we correct our course, we tear it down and we rebuild it. It doesn't have to be a collapse. Things are revealed, things collapse, we rebuild them. And what happens next is we come to a Four of Swords, which is a time in which literally, you guys, everything just goes. Silent. It stops. When the Four of Swords comes into your life, everything that was going on yesterday is not going on today. And sometimes you won't understand why. You'll be like, wait, what? I thought this was, and all of a sudden, it's just quiet. It's closed. It's temporary, though. It's temporary. Something regenerates within that time period. And so, from a soft predictive perspective, we see what we might call waves of upheaval, collapse of control structures, things that have been built by the powers that be, and even ourselves in our own lives being, reformulated, rebuilt, collapsing in some way, coming into periods of silence or reevaluation after that collapse. Let's go to step 3. This is kind of fun. So let's do another one. For those of you guiding the collective, what might we see after the Four of Swords? A period of silence, recollection, rest in some cases. What could happen later on in the year? 3, 2, 1, boom. The King of Cups rolls in, and we go deeper than we've ever been before into certain understandings of ourself, into the understandings of the nature of the world, into understandings of human nature, to understandings of time and the hidden underbelly of that which lies underneath every single thing in this world. Many people understand that the King of Cups, in many ways, he is the Lord, the ruler of what is under the surface, what is under the covers, what is down at the bottom of the ocean. Many things are unseen with the King of Cups. And so what happens is that when he's doing his job right, he dives all the way down into the deepest depths, all the way down into the depths of himself, into the world, and he comes back up with new information, new understandings, new experiences. And what's even better is he defeats all his own personal cycles and moves into a whole new era of power and ability by learning to share what he has discovered with the world. So, just in the first three cards that we see a year of great upheaval, a year of silence, a year of recollection in some cases, where we're going to be forced to look at, things that we've created and reevaluate and rebuild them. Who knows if that'll be an outage? Maybe that'll be a personal process that we have to go through within ourselves. One thing we can guarantee is there's going to be certain things that we thought were going to happen. And this is for everyone. There's going to be certain things that you think are going to happen in your life, and a Four of Swords will show up, you guys, specifically to say, "Oh, hey, guess what? Well, that's not going to happen now. It's not your fault, though. Don't worry." Four of Swords, it says it's not your fault. It just says, "Hey, we're just going to have to pause on that for a moment. Don't worry, it's not your fault. Not your fault." And you'll go, "Why?" And they'll go, just wait, 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 wait." And then we come into the stage of King of Cups, where maybe we could say some of the deepest truths are made known, but they don't happen accidentally. Someone has to go down there and get them. And so the King of Cups is going to be resurfacing in our lives with revelations, with new understandings, with old, deep, difficult truths about ourselves, about what has been buried underneath us. And I guess in sort of a fun way, I guess before we go, it brings me into, a couple kind of like world events that have been going on, tunnels underneath New York and all that. And it's very, very interesting to see the kind of things that get revealed at the beginning of the year when we see, we're literally in here in a reading right now talking about what has been buried underneath and how, certain things are going to be closed, how, the tower is going to fall, how silence will happen in certain places. And, we look at, a world event like that. And, I'm not going to go into the particulars on it. It's probably, the buzzwords are probably too hot, and, I don't want to get my channel whacked on any level. But a lot of you guys will be following, the revealing of certain tunnels that have been unearthed in New York recently that I believe were, leading to very, very ugly and dark things. A lot of, things we've been talking about over the past few years. It's a really good example of who was actually doing it. When you wonder who it was, the world is literally telling you. And so you guys can all extrapolate what you want from that whole tunnel fiasco in New York. And then at the same time, I think we're going to have certain revealings, which, could be kind of somewhat compared to, on the other side of the spectrum, the really fun story about the Miami aliens. I'm sure most of you guys that are watching this channel have seen, even if you just scrolled past it and didn't really look at it, this really fun story about, these aliens, or there was this, really huge fight over at this mall in Miami, which it's a few hours away from us, on the other side of the state. But, there's this huge fight, and, you've seen all the videos, hundreds of cops show up, um, and then we see a couple reports, a couple people. I gotta be real. A lot of the testimony, and this is for people that have been following the Miami alien story. This is a good opportunity to go back and watch some of the, whether it be TikTok or Twitter or whatever, platform you've been watching it on. Go back and watch some of the main people that are giving their testimonies, that whose testimonies about what they saw there are getting the most hits or the most influence. And I would like you to go back and look at those videos and look at the tells that each person shows. What is a tell? A tell is when we're telling a story and we start doing this, or look at my eyes, watch my eyes, and we start going, and the eyes are constantly looking for something. There's many different tells. Everyone has their own version of it. And there's a lot more than just the tell process, but when you start to look at the way body language and how truth exhibits itself in the human, body unconsciously, what you're going to notice is that people will always make contact with the face. If you're able to watch where their hands are, not always possible on TikTok, but what you're going to see is that a lot of the people giving these testimonies, it feels to me like there is something that is being manufactured surrounding that event. I would go so far as to say I think in some ways, it could be a hoax. Certain people are literally just, giving bullshit stories. And so I guess what I'm trying to say in a very jumbled up way is I do not believe that aliens showed up at a Miami mall. Not on that day, not at that time. But I do believe that, a host of extraterrestrial energies share this planet, share this country with us, walk alongside us on a daily basis in many different forms, both physical and non-physical. There's a host of extraterrestrial beings in physical form that live and walk alongside humans on a daily basis. They watch the same news that we do. And I think a lot of them laugh, like chuckle literally at like, oh man, because at least from my understanding and what I've been shown, they're everywhere. They're already here. And yet at the same time, there's going to be lots of, contact experiences and new protocols and certain disclosures and a bunch of fun things that, if we play our cards right, they'll happen in the future. But I guess what I'm saying is for right now, I in looking at the testimonies and reading, what I've read and watching what I've seen of that whole scenario, I don't agree that there was a landing of any types of aliens. One thing that does feel possible to me, and I'm going to be real, I haven't sat down and done what I would call a formal remote viewing on it. I don't really feel a need to. Doesn't, you know what I mean? It just also feels like there's so many eyes looking at it right now that you can get misled really, really easily with a really strong current of like co-created reality, meaning that, we're all kind of adding a lot of energy to it. People that are kind of pouring their time and energy online into it. Sometimes that can alter the way something is perceived. It doesn't mean that we don't get the true frequency underneath. It's just that there can be a lot of emotion and hyped up energy around something. So when you first tap into it, you could be like, oh my God. And you'll sort of feel all the reactions that people are having to whatever the subject is. And for some people, and I'll admit myself included, which I've learned over the years, is like you have to push further into whatever that is. And so anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying I have not pushed further into it. I have not done a formal remote viewing on it. I do think that it's possible that there may have been a test of some form of holographic technology, but I do believe that if there was, there would be more video of it. And that's one thing that we haven't seen. There is no video that really gives us like if it was really a Project Bluebeam test, you would think the powers that be, or all of the intelligence agencies that would be in on it, if any, and also the people out there, if they were really going to test that shit, they would be damn sure to know that at least somebody's going to get a picture of it so they could test how well did it look, how good did it look. You know what I mean? Somebody in the chat says blue beam hoax. I think it could be, but you'd think they'd try a little harder. You know what I mean? Because I just, something about it, I guess what I'm saying is, you guys, something about it feels suspect. Yet at the same time, I'm not going to completely throw it out, because I do believe there's a possibility that there is a lot of other type of activity going on there. In fact, if I were to say what it feels like in general, not that I know what, all the cops are doing there, it feels like they were there for a different reason other than, there's an alien, and other than, there's a bunch of teenagers with sticks. It feels like there was that in of itself, yes, was a cover story, but what we decided that it was covering was not what it was covering. And yet at the same time, I'm very comfortable with being wrong, because I got to be real. The other part of me, you guys, like the kid part of me, the fun part of me, wants to go, dude, it was an alien. It's possible. It could be. They're, like I said, they're like living among us right now, walking upon this earth. But at the same time, I think there are a number of beings that could, violate collective karma and protocol and could just show up if they chose. But I just don't think that was it. And so I'm kind of ranting indeterminately on it at the end here. White Swan says, I agree with you. That's cool. Thank you. Who knows though? Maybe there was. It's just like, maybe somebody can send me a better video of it, because the only one I've seen so far, the only video is from that helicopter, and it's like, and then a couple of the freeze frames. You know what I mean? Well, they'll sort of take a screenshot of it and blow it up, and it's not working, you guys. It doesn't work. If that's Bluebeam's version of an alien, I'm like, come on, bro, really? You guys have this incredible holographic technology, and all you can create is this weird garbled up image that's a bunch of people saw in a mall and started losing their shit. It's like you couldn't create like a reptilian. You know what I mean? You couldn't create like a 12-foot gray. You had to create some weird fractured, misty, watery looking gray garbled up thing that's walking down the sidewalk. And for those of you guys that look at the video, the one where like the helicopter's flying over looking at it, you gotta notice that there's people walking by in that video on the street, right? How come the people on the street aren't turning their head and looking at what the helicopter's shining its light on? If it was actually shining its spotlight on this gigantic 12-foot tall alien, don't you think the people walking by that are literally in the video would go, they would be looking at it? Instead, they're just walking casually by. Don't you think there would be cops with all of their guns posted up on the other side of the cars, aiming their guns at this thing? Like, don't you think there would have been something more than just a bunch of police cars chilling out there and a spotlight, flashing over the courtyard? I don't know. I'm just saying. I feel kind of suspect about the whole thing, but maybe they'll show up. Maybe they'll show up tomorrow. I don't know. What do you guys feel? The toilet paper shortage. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it's like the toilet paper shortage. What would it be leading us to, though, White Swan? You know how toilet paper shortage was to see if they could, elicit a mind control response in people and get them to do a useless activity? What would be the useless activity that they would be trying to prompt with, some form of, projection? The behavior panel. You know what we're talking about. You know what we're talking about. Angela Ellison got it. People are going to be recruited to plant all sorts of testimony, one way or the other. I believe so. Yeah, I gotta be real. It's like, I don't want to become one of those people that's becoming so skeptical of all of this stuff that you completely negate all possibility that something truly magical and miraculous, to happen. I guess that's that's what I'm trying to formulate here, is that it's like, I don't want to become so jaded and skeptical of this sensationalized UFO mania that comes and goes every now and then with no conclusive anything. I don't want to become so jaded and skeptical that when the real thing happens, we blow it off. And I think that's kind of what we're being led to. Like, honestly, aliens will probably show up in LA tomorrow, and 5 or 6 grays will, walk down the street, and everyone will be like, oh my God, you know what I mean? It's like nobody will care anymore. And I think that's kind of what they have created for us with the whole, ongoing disclosure battle, is that it's like most of us wouldn't even realize when it like really happened. So I'm sure there's been dozens of times where a bunch of aliens rolled up to the mall, and you know what I mean? I can nearly guarantee you there's a couple humanoid ETs that watch that news thing and they're like, dude, I was there last week. Nobody said shit. You know what I mean? And maybe that's just me being, weird and bizarre and conspiratorial. But from what I believe and what I've seen and what I feel in my heart, there's a host of extraterrestrial hybrid physical beings that we are sharing this earth with. They live alongside us as humans. Some of them have projections. Some of them are very different in physical appearance and aren't seen very often. Some of them are almost nearly identical to humans. Some of them are aware of who they are, and some of them aren't. So anyway, who knows when that's all going to come out? I have no idea, but I guess to go back to the whole idea of the Miami aliens, my prayer is it was a real alien. My suspicion is it was a hoax. My middle ground expectation is that maybe it'll be a blue beam test of some kind of technological projection. But like I said, even if it was, couldn't they have done anything better than that? I mean, shit, could they have maybe done like Sasquatch or like Mothman or something? Because I'm telling you, you guys, like, if that's blue beam aliens, like, dude, it's so boring. Do better next time, you guys. I'm serious. Make it a Draco reptilian. If you can just create any holographic image you want, make it a Draco reptilian and watch people really lose their shit. Then see what happens. You know what I mean? Anyway, sorry guys, I'm going on and on. It's been 3.5 hours. What's going to happen? Anyway, thank you everyone. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us for 3.5 hours. Aurora Diamond Heart just rolled in. It's all good. It's all good. I had a feeling that you were probably out there driving around somewhere. But anyway, thank you for rolling through, Aurora Diamond Heart. Thanks, Lori Stewart. What's up, Ryan Eichmann? Totally. The agony of the human condition. I feel you. Anyway, thanks, you guys. So one really quick announcement before we go. I'm going to awkwardly look at my phone on a live stream because I want to tell you guys the date of this month's Patreon meeting. Okay, number one, our next all-group Patreon meeting. For those of you guys that want to come in and get a guaranteed reading, for those of you guys that don't know, we've been doing these reading groups every month for 3 years, over 3 years now. And our first Patreon meeting of 2024 is going to be on Saturday, January 20th. Saturday, January 20th at 4 p.m. Eastern. For those of you guys that want to join us over at, oh, there it goes. Thanks, White Swan. For those of you guys that want to join us over in Patreon, you can come to a group where everyone gets a reading. So far, we have not missed anyone yet. Actually, that's not true. I think 2 years ago, there was one person that did one of our reading groups, and we did one time. If you want to get really, really real, one time I did technically forget someone. So one time it happened, you guys. But ever since then, it's been perfect. And so, anyway, to be totally real, it's really fun because everyone gets a reading. And so you can show up for $10 at patreon.com/Blue Flame Collective. And we're going to be gathering with myself and Honora, who, let's be real, she's probably the one you really want to get a reading from. But yeah, we're going to be gathering on Saturday, January 20th at 4 p.m. Eastern. There'll be some other announcements before then. We also have a dedicated energy clearing process that we do in our Patreon group every single month. It's a really good way to begin to acquaint yourself with the processes of legitimate energy clearing, of removing toxicity, difficulty, negative emotions, negative thought forms from the body using a very, very reliable method that each and every time we do one of these, people experience change and growth and calmness and just centering within the self. And so we're going to be doing our dedicated energy clearing process with tier 2 in the Patreon group. That's going to be on Sunday, January 28th, Sunday, January 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern. And so those are a couple weeks away. I will alert you guys as we get closer to those dates, but do join us, especially for the 20th. If you've been hanging out on our channel for a while and you want to get a reading, come to our Patreon group. And this is where it is guaranteed to happen. And likewise, you can always find myself and Honora. You can book a private session this is a very good time to do so. If you're one of the people that's been watching this live stream here today, maybe you got a reading, maybe you didn't, maybe you want a reading, maybe you want to connect with someone that can help you kind of chart out the path of your energy for the months ahead, and to understand, like, where are we being led? What do I need to heal? What do I need to activate? Some of you guys will be seeking guidance. Some of us will be seeking clearing to get rid of difficult energies that we've gathered within the body. This is a good time of the year to begin with a clean slate. And this is literally the only work we do on a daily basis. And so you can find me at rememberyourmission.com. And yeah, this is a very, very good time of year to take advantage of such things. So I look forward to those of you guys that are going to be showing up in the days and weeks to come. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody for being here. Yes, sir, that is true. January 20th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Please do join us. Thank you, Lorraine Renee. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you there. In the meantime, you guys, I have a feeling I'll be back around this time next week. I have a feeling we'll be back. So look for us again in the days to come. In the meantime, please hit the like button on the way out. Please subscribe if you have not done so already. Join us at patreon.com/blueflamecollective on the 20th, or you can book a private session over at rememberyourmission.com. It's literally the only work we do right now. And I'm really honored to those of you guys that come out and hang out with us on these live streams every so often. And some of you guys have been here for 3.5 hours. I love you dearly. Thanks for spending time with me. And yeah, live from the multidimensional trailer park. It's 2024, you guys. I guess we got to get our shit